Whatever you are doing online is all tracked and watched. Not only where you are clicking, where your thumb is stopping when you are on your Instagram or TikTok. If you stop for a couple of seconds on a post, the platform is capturing that information. The reason why entrepreneurs should create content is because I want to talk to my consumers directly.
How do you look at these pillars of digital marketing?
There are 4 different channels. I would like to break it down. One is your...
Apurv Singh is a performance marketer with 10 plus years of turning data into profit. From Times Internet to Cox and Future Group, he's the numbers guy behind hundreds of eROI-driven campaigns, where art meets science and complexity becomes clarity.
The moment I entered marketing, I realized that there are 2 parts, traditional and digital. It's very interesting how Facebook shows you ads. Why am I seeing this ad? No marketing book or course tells you how to get attention. Attention is the biggest currency today.
Is SEO dying?
If I'm making a reel, if I have a perspective that I'm sharing on that reel, I can post that content on LinkedIn as well. But it needs to be packaged differently. The way it works on LinkedIn is performance marketers made their career at the back of making sure the targeting is right. Right? People are seeing my ad. Now, automation and AI has taken that away. Marketing is moving towards...
A strong marketing team today doesn't just drive growth. It often decides whether a business survives or not. And if we want more control over our digital marketing outcomes, we need deeper understanding on how marketing really works. Whether you're building a career in digital marketing or strengthening your company's marketing department, today we have a special guest with us, Apurv Singh, a marketing educator and an expert whose deep insight will help us to plan clear strategies, in-house system, understanding algorithms, and building structures in the digital marketing space. Let's welcome Apurv Singh today, who will explain us each facets of the digital marketing, and that will share his insights about his experience and deep knowledge. Hey Apurv, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thanks for having me.
When did you come to Dubai?
I came here 4 days back.
Okay.
And just doing a few business meetings, scouting places, checking out Dubai a little bit more. That's what I'm up to.
Excellent. So Apurv, the entire objective of this podcast is basically to have it in 2 parts. One is to help an entrepreneur that's actually trying to build his digital marketing department. That's one part. And the second part is that someone who's trying to build a digital marketing career or an agency.
Right.
So I would like to go in deep about your insights about 2 aspects of your life. One is your digital marketing experience. And the second part is you as an educator in the digital marketing space. The courses that you provide so that which actually shapes up the mind of someone who plans to become a digital marketer. So before we deep dive into the strategies, the structures, the tools that are available or the frameworks, I want to understand Apurv, that how did this entire journey start for you? Where did all this start in your life?
So I'll take you a few years back. When I completed my MBA, I was a regular MBA in marketing from India. I did not make it to a marketing job, which is very common when you complete your post-graduation from a tier 2 or a tier 3 college. So I completed my MBA in marketing, and all the companies that came for placement were all for sales.
Okay.
And I had no work experience. So I was not aware about what it takes to sell anything.
Okay.
And how to market a product or a service. I knew it theoretically, but I had no idea of on-ground realities. So I got a placement as a management trainee in one of the sales profiles. This is 2013. And I tried my hands out at sales, and I was not good at it because that was my first career. I was trying to figure things out, move to a new city, and there was just too much for me to learn and figure out. But then I realized that...
what is your academic qualification?
I have done BSc.
Okay.
So I did my BSc in biotechnology.
Okay.
Because at that time, this is 2009-10, biotechnology was booming at that time. And all of us, including some of my peers, we thought that this will be the next big thing.
Okay.
And we recently completed our schooling. So we thought might as well go in this field. But because of various reasons, regulations, etc., there were not many opportunities in that field. So I decided to switch my career into something which has got more to do with businesses.
Okay.
So that's how MBA happened, and that's how I got my first job, which was into sales. And I realized very soon that it's not my cup of tea. I need to go back to where I'm truly interested in. And I realized my interest area while I was doing MBA, that marketing is where I want to excel. I want to build my career. In fact, out of all the courses we had, all the subjects we had, I used to score the highest in customer relationship management, CRM. So that's how I discovered my interest, and I started looking out for opportunities in marketing thereafter. And fortunately, I got one in Mumbai.
Okay.
And I did not get any salary hike, nothing. I said I don't care as long as I'm getting an opportunity to step into the field of marketing. And that was my first full-time
And did you
job
have
in
some
marketing.
restrictions from your parents and all? Because they gave you all this training in biotech, and then you immediately pivoted to something in the business field, and which was not even certain.
Right.
I mean, that's a new career that you're going to start from now.
Right.
And now you have to start everything from zero once again, and rebuild, reshape, and learn new things again. And everything that was old, you had to let go.
My family was more about that: complete the graduation and post-graduation and decide your way out thereafter. If you're more interested towards marketing, as long as you are not taking a big hit on your salary, because that's the Indian culture, right? You can't go down in terms of trajectory, right? So as long as you are making enough money, which your parents and families can tell others about and peers about, you're good. So they were not really about whether I'm going in sales and marketing, whichever of the fields. There was no resistance as such there. But I realized very soon that I wanted to switch into marketing. Now, marketing itself is a big field.
Correct.
The moment I entered marketing, I realized that there are two parts: traditional and digital.
Correct.
I had very limited understanding of digital. This I'm talking about 2013, late 2014, early 2014. So I said, then I need to learn digital, because that's where the future is probably. Amazon was entering India. Flipkart was there, early days in India. And I said, I need to learn digital part of marketing. And I said, what's the best way? Internet was not that accessible. Accessibility was there, but not that pocket friendly at that time, right?
Correct.
So I thought, let's learn and let's sign up for a course. So I took an offline course. It was a classroom setup again. I went to my graduation days again and did a 6 months offline course in Mumbai. So I used to study from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the classroom. And then I continued my regular job after 10 a.m., right, till 7, 8 p.m. I used to come back. This regime continued for 6 months until I got my first proper break in digital marketing, not only regular marketing stuff. So yeah, that's how the journey started.
See, digital marketing is actually a composition of two parts. One is the marketing aspect and one is the digital tools that are available.
Yeah.
How did you actually pick up the marketing parts? Of course, applying the tools is one part. But how did you pick up the marketing aspects? Because you were not a marketing background guy.
Yeah.
And of course, you learned the tools about the marketing or how a product has to be reached to a particular audience. But how did you get that marketing aspect? Or was it there in your self itself?
I think it was there somewhere when I was doing my MBA in marketing. But what really intrigued me, and you're absolutely right, it's not so much about tools. I think the way I look at marketing is that at the end of the day, it's a combination of persuasion and how you get attention.
Correct.
Right? So when I was exploring what should I do in digital marketing, because there are many profiles within digital marketing as well, I realized that it's very interesting how Facebook shows you ads.
Correct.
Right? In 2014, why am I seeing this ad? There must be some logic behind it. There's someone behind it who is deciding that this person should see an ad of a shoe and not of anything else, right? So that got me interested that what is the logic behind these platforms, how these platforms work. There has to be some science behind it. There are some controllables and uncontrollables, what brands decide, what platforms decide. That got me started exploring how the platforms work, starting with Meta, that time Facebook. And once I started reading more about it, I realized that very few people actually know about it. Like we are talking about the era of learning digital marketing by watching YouTube videos of Neil Patel.
Correct.
Right. So he was probably the only role model available, or Gary Vee to some extent.
Gary Vee.
So So when I started doing a bit of research, started talking to people around me in my organization and agencies, I realized that everyone's understanding is still superficial. Moment it comes to depth, there's a big opportunity there. And that pushed me to a large extent. So started learning Facebook, then from Facebook to Google, from Google to SEO and all of that. The journey is still ongoing. Now with the AI, of course.
So you understood that somewhere these platforms are the real tools. Yeah. And I need to master how to basically go and market my products on these platforms.
Yeah.
And these platforms had their own ecosystem of reaching people.
Correct.
And I need to figure out how these platforms are operating within themselves and how they blend with the product that I'm offering to get their maximum reach, correct?
Correct. I think that is an understanding which, like you mentioned initially, entrepreneurs and someone who's looking to build a career in marketing, they should start from there. It's not about learning a new fancy AI tool. All of that comes later. So whenever I am doing corporate trainings or teaching, I don't get into tools directly. Let's understand or build the foundation of marketing, which has not changed. Like I always say that no marketing book or course tells you how to get attention.
Correct.
Attention is the biggest currency today, but I don't find it anywhere. Maybe it's also because you can't necessarily learn it if you're not doing it yourself. And therefore, understanding tools, how they work, plus you need to have a layer of convincing your target audience to buy, to click on your product, to click on your ad and to buy is a very different ballgame. But that is what pushed me to start my career. It's always important. Don't just learn the tool which you see on the front end, the UI part of it. Understand what is the story which is happening. And there are Netflix series on this, right? Social dilemma and so on, which explains which explains you what is happening on Meta's end. The more you understand that, more stronger your foundation will be.
So I think if I want to start my career in digital marketing, the first I need to look at these things as two different universes. One is the marketing aspects of my company.
Yeah.
And the second part is the platform itself as a different universe. And then how do I basically position my product on that platform? Because I'm sure different platforms will have different systems to position the product and they will have different systems to reach to their audience or take that forward. Am I correct?
Yeah. So if you're an entrepreneur, see, it's important that I'll talk about entrepreneur first, and then if you're looking to build a career, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to still close on the fundamentals, which is what is your product, whether your product has crossed the product market fit, whether there is a need. Like I always explain that work on the concept of minimal viable product and minimal viable segment. Minimal viable product is that a product which is functioning, it's working, it exists. It's not the best product out there in terms of design or UI, but it's functional. People can use it, people can play with it and so on. Minimal viable segment is decide the smallest audience you want to reach out to. Don't go big. Smallest audience you want to reach out to, and the people who will be willing to pay you and who will be willing to pay you multiple times for the same product. Who are that audiences? You need to define the reasoning why someone should go ahead with your product. Like in marketing terms, we call it reason to believe. Why should I believe you? Right? Define those beliefs, which an entrepreneur would always know better. If I am selling a skincare product, I know about my formulation. If there is something about your formulation that needs to come out strongly with your content, on your brand, on your website, etc. So as an entrepreneur, I believe those fundamentals still hold true. Product, your segment, and why should someone even trust you or buy from you? I would add another layer over that. Why should someone buy from you today? See, the behavior on internet is that from consumers' perspective, no one cares about you and no one will buy anything from you if you do not put a gun on their head.
Correct.
There has to be regular human emotions you have to play with, fear, greed, and so on, trust. So why should someone buy from you and why should they buy today? Answer these questions first. So when I'm working with any brand, answering those questions is extremely important. Doesn't matter at which stage the brand is. Either they know about it or maybe just founder knows about it at the back of their mind. It's not documented anywhere. But that document is your source from where everything will stem out. Your ads, your website copy, etc. Right? So as an entrepreneur, work on those aspects first. Once those things are figured out, now we are living in the age of automation. these platforms, Meta, Google, are smart enough to find the right people for you. You do not need human intervention. But if those things are not figured out, it's a big problem. Ads will not work, tools will not work for you. Now, coming from career perspective, right?
No, first, like in the entrepreneur space only, Apurv, I want to understand. You said that okay, first as an entrepreneur, first I need to figure out my minimum viable product.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is the market product fit.
Yeah.
And you gave an example of a cosmetic product. And if I basically know the formulation of a product, from where it's originated, and if I feel it has a unique USP, then first I need to figure out what's my niche.
Yeah.
Am I right? This is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I figure out my niche, and then I basically start building my content around that niche. So it means I start creating. So how do I create curiosity, trust, and at the same time pitch my product without looking like a salesman?
I think if you're just getting started, if yours is a new business, you should not even worry about pitching the product initially. The more product conversation you do initially, slower will be your growth. Unless you pump money behind it, unless you start spending money on creating awareness, etc., which a lot of new businesses might not be able to do. So I think if you are a founder and if you want to get that messaging out to your target consumer, you need to understand, first of all, how these social media platforms work, because that is where you will get the cheapest reach. Now, the way an Instagram algorithm works, you can take a course, you can watch a YouTube video, but in my opinion, there is no singular Instagram growth playbook that will work for all the skincare brands or all the real estate brands. It doesn't happen like that. Therefore, I believe it's important as an entrepreneur, you figure out what is traveling on these platforms. And if possible, you yourself create content, which I know is
founder-based concept.
Founder-based concept. And it's about either you create or you have a couple of people in your team who know how the content works on the platform, and you define the guidelines, the guardrails, what you do not want to say. But understanding what travels on Instagram or any of the other social platforms should be a founder's purview, and they should know what visual archetypes to use, what props to use, how to get attention in the first 3 seconds, what series you want to try out. I believe until you reach a stage where you have at least 5,000, 10,000 followers, you should limit your product conversation. In my case, I started doing product conversation when I was at 150K.
Okay.
I did not sell anything before that. It was just value. But I had my business already running on parallel. So there was no urgency as such. I was building it gradually. But I believe if you are able to create 10,000, 15,000 following, which means if you have 10,000 followers, at the top of it, your content is visible to at least 2 to 3 million people.
Okay.
Out of that, or maybe 5 million people. Out of those people, 10,000 are following you. So your actual asset is not 10,000. It's people who are consuming content and still not following. It's fine. Maybe they have not seen the right piece of content yet. So as a founder, you should limit your product conversation till the time people start trusting you. What you stand for, what is your perspective on, let's say, larger skincare aspect. And then gradually start doing product conversation. Then it becomes easier for you to get first 50, first 100, first 200 sales. And then you can keep scaling up from there. But as a founder, I believe following this, firstly, there is no growth playbook that you should try to copy paste. It does not work. Even if you're looking up to someone in your own category, it has worked for them. In all likelihood, it will not work for you. Right? So what is natural to you? Like, I'll give you my example, right? What doesn't come naturally to me is following trends. I can't do that.
Okay.
I don't follow trends. You will not find any content piece on my Instagram. Even if I want to, it's just not natural to me. And if you're a young founder, you'll be comfortable with it. But if you have like 10, 15, if you have 10, 15 years of experience, you will find it difficult, practically speaking. So I don't do it. What's the cost of it? Yeah, the growth was slow initially, but gradually myself and algorithm along with me found the right audience. The network effect took some time to kick in. But once it starts kicking in, algorithm shows your content to the most relevant audiences. So if you have that patience, right, I think things work out really well for you.
Let's take an example, okay? The example could be the same example that you're giving is that suppose I'm a young founder who wants to now start a face cream, or maybe this face cream is an amazing cream that I figured out in one of the exhibitions in Korea, and then
Yeah.
I said, let me go and import this cream. What's the starting point? Because I want to understand, as if I'm not a digital marketer, but I have a digital marketing manager. I want to understand as a founder, okay, or before even I go to an agency as well, I want to understand as a founder, what are the tools or what are the marketing segments available? Because I made some pillars of marketing. I don't know whether it's correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So there were two segments which I made. One was the organic market side, which was basically the emails, the SEOs, the social media, the blogs.
Correct.
And then there was another part which was the performance marketing, which again is the paid campaigns on Meta, on Google, on WhatsApp, and other platforms where you have to pay for the leads.
Yeah.
So, of course, the platform now, digital media or digital marketing would be divided into two aspects. One is the organic part, where basically I'm saying, this is the content or this is the product, and I'm creating awareness, I'm creating trust, and I'm creating some sort of reach or community around the product. And the other part is I'm trying to get immediate leads so that I can actually survive during this entire period, so that I can start selling.
Yeah.
How would you look at these pillars of digital marketing? I mean, for someone who just wants to start, is it right, or maybe that I'm missing?
I think it's about prioritizing what leverages you have, right?
Yeah.
You might have leverage of having a good product which you have tested on a sample offline, for example. So you know the product is good. Now, if you go the website route, that I will list the product on my website, I will start doing ads, I will start doing organic marketing, you have to accept that you are entering a world which is painfully slow and bleeds.
Tiring, yeah?
Yeah. Because when it comes to organic channel, it's a great channel. It adds to your profitability because it doesn't cost you to get a click in organic channels, but it is painfully slow. You will build it for months or probably years before it starts contributing meaningfully to your system. Paid or performance space is where you can get 1,000 people on your website tomorrow if you want to. Start spending money. You test where people are dropping off or leaving your website. What products are they checking out? If at all they are buying something, what are they buying? You can give them a call to understand what made them buy the product, how was their experience, etc. But the way I largely recommend entrepreneurs is that there are 4 different channels.
Okay.
I would like to break it down to. One is your paid, second is marketplaces,
Okay.
third is organic, and fourth is retention.
Okay.
So paid and organic I just explained. If you have a physical, tangible product to sell, so if you're a new founder, break down your marketing efforts into these 4 channels.
Okay.
Now, coming back to your face cream example.
So in your organic, what will be in your organic?
Organic is your SEO, organic content, your community.
Okay.
Right? All of that is part of.
And marketplaces?
You have Amazon, you have Noon.
Okay.
In India, you have more marketplaces, Flipkart, etc.
And the paid one is the Meta ad.
Meta ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat.
What do you mean by retention?
Yeah, this is the most underrated channel in my opinion. You are selling a face cream. I come to your website, I buy the face cream. Now, ideally, if I am using the product every day, it will get over in 30 days.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But will I come back and shop with you? Today, consumers are not loyal to a brand. They focus more on convenience and trying something new out.
And because more options available.
There are more options available. So if you are sitting and hoping that someone who bought a face cream from me will come back and again buy in 30 days, in all likelihood, it's not going to happen. So while they are consuming the product, you have to make sure that as a brand, you are at top of their mind. So you use channels like emails, you use WhatsApp, you use notifications, in some cases, Telegram, Discord, depending on the category that you are into. And when the product is about to get over, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days before that, you start shooting a communication that refill, restock, maybe gives another offer if you can, so that the consumer comes back and buys from you and not tries something
So
out.
basically, you keep a control on this data, which actually customers are buying, and I keep selling repeat products to them.
Correct.
Something like this, yeah?
Correct. But this channel takes time because if you have 100 people, the base is too small. So size becomes a disadvantage here. Unless you have 10,000, 50,000 people, this channel will not contribute meaningfully. But the moment your business starts to scale, imagine it with another example. Let's say if I am selling a B2B software or a SaaS product, right? Like a HubSpot, a CRM, and so on. With them, the usage or the availment of the product is most important.
Correct.
I'm subscribing to a product. I paid you, let's say, $1,000, and I'm not using the product. There is no way I'm going to renew.
Correct.
Right. So how will they make sure that the habit is made of the user, that they use the product, they log into the product, the tool, they use it, they try out new features, they raise tickets, they reach out to customer support, and so on, right? All of this, the more involved a user is or a customer is with your ecosystem, better the chances that they will come back. And
So what are the tools that you use to keep that stickiness with the customer?
Our tools would be, if you're a small business, let's say in e-commerce, you can start from tools like OmniSend, which helps you to send these WhatsApps, emails, create basic segments of users. For example, people who came to the website, added a product to the cart and did not buy. Most common behavior.
Correct.
Now, entrepreneurs believe that if 100 people have added to the cart, at least 50% of them should buy, right?
Correct.
What's the problem? There is some problem with the quality of people coming to my website, or my website is off. No. Usually, if 100 people are adding a product to the cart, 10, 15 of them will complete the purchase journey. The rest of them will drop off. That is a usual behavior on online or internet. So instead of trying to change that behavior, it's important that you have systems to reach out to those users who are dropping off fast. Now in today's time, you can do it with AI calls also. If you have phone numbers captured, you can immediately trigger a call through AI and ask basic information from a potential consumer. But
You can track down whether the checkout process is complex or something like that. The Apple Pay is not there.
Correct.
Or,
Whatever the issue
the payment
is.
gateway is really not well integrated.
Absolutely. See, it's a very common behavior online that I add a product to my cart. In the case of e-commerce, adding to cart is curiosity. It's not commitment. Commitment comes when I pull out my card and pay.
Correct.
Curiosity I show multiple times a day, right? Like, I like a product, I'll add it to the cart, I'll add it to my wish list, and I'll come back and check it out later. But for you as a business, it's a serious metric to look at. So if you are not talking to those consumers again, you will keep spending money and giving money to Meta and Google all the time, right? So tools would be, OmniSend is a good tool. Brevo is a good tool.
Brevo.
There are more complex platforms like CleverTap, Klaviyo, WebEngage, MoEngage. There are multiple tools. But if you're a new business, you're getting started, you can evaluate any tool between OmniSend and Brevo.
These tools actually create that stickiness, yeah?
Yeah. These tools create that stickiness. These tools will also help you to understand if 100 people came to your website, how many of them dropped off from the cart stage or before. And if you want to send a message to them on WhatsApp directly, the moment they drop off, you can automate that entire journey.
Wow.
Right,
So it has an ecosystem within itself.
It is complete ecosystem within itself. And the more users you get on your website, more complex segment of audiences you can create. Right. And this behavior changes. For example, another example I want to quote here, I've worked in this category. In India, there's a category of quick commerce similar to UAE as well, right? So you get delivery 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, correct. Now, the thing with those apps is that people open a Zepto or a Blinkit or any of these apps multiple times a day.
Correct.
So I thought of something, I'll add it in the cart in the morning, then again in the afternoon, and so on. But these apps work largely on dopamine, right? So they want user to convert and buy faster, and they want to increase the frequency of buying as well in the entire day.
Correct.
So all of that segmentation, that if someone is adding a product to the cart in the morning, do we need to give them an offer? Is it a regular product that they are buying, which is in their habit, or are they trying out something new? If it's a new product that they have added to the cart, maybe it makes sense to give out an offer if they are not buying in the first 15 minutes. And you trigger that offer with a notification. So this intelligence sits on tools like these.
So are you saying, Apurv, that these apps from the back end have mastered the psychography?
Oh, absolutely. They know more
They
than your
exactly
partner.
know when I'm actually logging
Yeah.
in and why I'm logging in, what product actually I'm comfortable, or what product I'm really searching on other platforms, and what offers to give me, and subconsciously push me through a buying pattern.
Yes. Whatever you are doing online is all tracked and watched. Not only where you are clicking, where your thumb is stopping when you are on your Instagram or TikTok. If you stop for a couple of seconds on a post, the platform is capturing that information. And it is feeding back to their ad intelligence ecosystem, which is helping them to show more relevant ads to you.
Similar relevant, yeah.
Yes. So whatever you are doing on any of these apps or platforms is all tracked. Yeah, in some cases, businesses are smart enough to leverage it. In some scenarios, there are strict regulations as well in today's time. As long as you are not violating that, you have enough information about any consumer to reach out to them again and change the psychology or buying pattern. All the information is tracked.
I mean, I love the concept of retention that you explained, because this is something that mostly marketers, or maybe even as a marketing manager, in my company, they don't actually focus on.
Yeah.
Even though they consciously know that, okay, we need to keep offering our existing clients, but really creating an ecosystem around the existing client and making sure that, they are all the time given various options so that they subconsciously buy our products.
Correct.
And keeping on babysitting them on these tools that you have given. I think that will be a great learning.
This gets even more interesting with lead generation businesses like real estate and so on, right? Because then these tools also have to do the job of nurturing a lead. See, if you are selling a product or service which has long sales cycle, buying real estate is probably once in a lifetime decision that anyone will take. So if I am showing an interest with you, I have dropped a lead with you, my information. I have done the same with 10 more players or websites. Now it's not the function of who reaches out to me first. It's about frequency. Who is visible to me more without being intrusive, right? So if I have dropped a lead for a new project which is coming up, let's say anywhere in Dubai, you start a nurturing journey which is more educational, little bit about the brand, pushing the user to use some sort of forecasting tool or give them a free resource like a PDF. All of that, you should stitch the user journey. The moment a user comes to your website, drops a lead, to how you want to talk to them virtually over the next 30 days. So that when they actually make a decision, I want to reach out to some people or anyone, your name pops up in their mind first. So with longer sales cycle businesses, this becomes even more important. Like they can't survive even on a smaller base. They will have to create this entire journey.
So would it be helpful for me to keep touching points them to different options available on the social media? Like maybe sometimes I could send them an email, sometimes could go and tap them through maybe a search option.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime through a meta ad.
Yeah. So retention channels do not talk to ad platforms. So what you are doing on emails, WhatsApp, notifications, you can't connect it to your meta ads ecosystem. So if you come to my website and if I have your data, I can reach out to you with WhatsApp, email, etc. But if I have to reach out to you on Meta, I will have to spend money for that. Correct. Right? And that's a very separate channel. It operates in isolation mostly, these ad platforms. They are walled gardens for a reason, right? But yeah, if I'm able to get you back on my website and get a sale from you from these channels, I save the money that I would have given to Meta and Google at the first place, right? So that's how businesses need to, especially entrepreneurs. If you're a new business and you are getting a few sales every day, you should have a mechanism to reach out to people who have bought your product in an automated manner. You can't do it manually.
You can't do it manually, at least in today's
and that's where,
era.
Yeah, it's not required. And that's where retention channels typically come in.
I mean, going back to the same subject of what we have introduced a face cream brand, and this brand is now we are trying to market it. I have limited budgets. How would you break up, or how would you divide my budget? So if or what will be the ideal budget that I need to actually spend, or the percentage I need to spend with regards to the paid ads, and how much money should I spend with organic campaigns or maybe organic marketing?
Yeah.
What will be the division that you'll actually spend?
See, if yours is a new brand starting from zero, you have just opened your Instagram, TikTok account and so on, just made your website live. I would recommend the first thing you will have to focus on is cash flow. Now, if you want to build cash flow for your business, if you already have a strong audience created, you started creating content, you have 10, 15, 20,000 followers, you will get initial traction from your website. But if that's not the case, going and spending money on ads is usually not a great idea. I would recommend test your flows, test your product with marketplaces first.
Okay.
You might not make enough money there because marketplaces is the function of volume. Your margins are thin. Right, on Amazon, you are selling, you are probably making like 8-10% on a higher side, right? So if you are doing 5 orders a day, it's nothing. But the moment you start scaling to 50, 100 orders a day, there will be some cash flow that you will keep accounting for, right? But more than cash flow, it's also about you are validating the idea that I am finding the consumer who will buy my product. The only disadvantage there is I don't know who the consumer is. Amazon will not share.
They will not share
consumer
data.
data.
Yeah, correct.
But I know it's selling. I'm validating the product. I can see where it is getting sold, from where am I getting the orders.
So I can check the supply and demand.
Yes, I can absolutely get confidence that the product is selling and where it is getting sold from, which cities and so on, right? I would recommend, if you're a new product, new brand, do this validation with marketplaces first instead of spending money on performance through Meta, Google, etc. Once you have done this validation, you see you're at a stage where you're getting 100, 200 orders, then it's the right time to start migrating users to your own website. Then you will have a lot of insights around the product also. You will see the reviews you are getting on Amazon. Many a times those reviews become your ad copies.
And
right?
Amazon charges for listing the products?
Yeah, Amazon has a full tariff card.
Okay.
And there are multiple type of fees that you will have to pay.
Okay.
But what I have seen, by the end of it, businesses are able to capture like 8 to 12% of net margin on their product. And if it's a high AOV product, which means the price of the product is high, this number could be higher as well. But there are multiple type of charges. Amazon charges you for listing the product on their portal, on their website. They charge you if you want to use their supply chain. There's a separate cost for it. They charge you a certain percentage of every sale that happens on the platform. You can run ads on Amazon also, so there's a separate charge for that. So Amazon is or any marketplace, it's a complete ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah,
that helps you to organically go and sell your product. At the same time, if you want to promote it, there is another cost for it.
Correct. There's another cost for it. But I believe that it's a good platform for you to see. For example, there are tools available within Amazon which helps you to understand what people are searching for.
Which are the tools?
It's within Amazon. It's an Amazon keyword research tool itself, which or there are external tools also like Helium, which helps you to understand what people are searching for within the face cream category on Amazon.
Okay.
Now, if I know what are the top 50, 100 searches which are happening, I can program my product name, my product page, everything around those searches. If I want to spend some money, I can spend money towards those searches also. The other good thing about Amazon is that the ROI is still predictable. That's not the case with Meta and Google, right? If you're spending, let's say, 100 dirham or $100, Amazon tells you your expected ROI is 10%, and usually it lands around that. So that's an advantage. But Amazon, with the help of these marketplaces, you are able to validate whether you are getting the demand, the product is getting sold, what kind of reviews are you getting? Do you need to make any changes before you take the products on your own website? I think that should be your first step. Get some cash flow, build your brand. You can keep building your brand on social meanwhile. So social organic can be active. It's just that you are not asking people to go to your website. You're asking them to
Correct.
go to
Actively you're promoting from another the another side. So my question is that suppose if I'm I appoint you as maybe a consultant or maybe a marketing head in our company, and if I say that Apurv, okay, our budgets are only 10,000 per month, how would you divide for this face cream company? And you say that, okay, Peter, this is where I think this is my plan. This would be my division in the way how much I'll spend on the paid ads, how much would I spend on marketplaces, how much would I prefer to spend and invest on organic campaigns or organic content creation, and how much money I would spend on retention, so to retain my existing clients so that I keep giving them some sort of promotions in a way to keep them continuously buying products from us. What would be your division?
It's fairly straightforward. If I'm a new business, for me, the two most important channels are marketplaces and organic. Okay. The only outlier here where I will start paid on my own website is if I have some capital available. It could be my own capital, or I have raised the funds many a times. Some businesses have offline presence. They have offline stores. They are present in general trade, modern trade, etc. And they have some capital.
Correct.
So if you have capital available, then you can start with paid. But if I have 10,000 to spend, I will start with organic content and marketplaces. Now within this, my marketplaces will take most of the spends. I would say about 40% would go to 50% would go to marketplaces. And the reason is because I want to understand what people are saying after using the product. Right now, whatever I have thought of or the founder has thought of is in their mind. It's their perception. Founders get too carried away by the quality of the product, quality of formulation. But as a consumer sitting in front of the screen, I don't know about the quality unless I touch it, feel it, use it. Right? So
spend on validation.
Yes. So I will spend on the platform where the demand is already there. Right? So therefore, marketplaces becomes my 40-50% share. 20 to 30% I'll spend on organic. But I will not be random with organic. See, you have to be intentional when you are on any of these platforms. Organic is not only about following trends or facing the camera. You need to understand, like I said initially, the psychology what works on these short form videos. But at the same point of time, if your content is reaching out to, let's say, a few thousand people, you need to have a system in place by which you can get a follower to come to your website. Now, the way I do it, and the way most of the creators do it as well, is with the help of automation.
Okay.
So if I'm talking about face cream, I will not get into the formulation of the product so much. Maybe I'll talk about what's the gap in the market, right? No pitching of the product.
Okay.
This is the gap in the market. And because I want to win trust, this is a homemade remedy that you can try out.
Okay.
If you want to know more about it, comment XYZ on my video, comment maybe my name of my brand, whatever you want to comment.
So what do you mean gap?
Gap is the players which are already there in the market.
Competitor analysis.
And what is not there in the market, which intentionally you will be filling once you launch your product.
Which is your unique USP.
USP, correct. So, but talk more in terms of what pain points of consumers are. Don't go technical. Don't talk about XYZ competition because you have to launch a brand tomorrow, right? Or you already have. But talk about what are the challenges, pain points, gaps. Understand and try to connect it with your everyday regime of your target audience, because this is a consumable product, or if it's a face cream, it's important that I use face cream for what purposes, right? It could be, the use could be an everyday use. It could be, for working professionals, I'm going to the office, whatever that use case is. Create content more on those use cases because it connects better on social media. And try to get that.
It builds trust,
It builds trust, it builds credibility, it builds curiosity. And I believe that don't just create content to get reach. Like I always say that virality doesn't get you sales, right? I have seen enough number of content pieces, including myself. Yeah, you have 10 million views, but I've got 0 sales out of it, right? I would rather prefer 500 likes.
Yeah, I know that's where most of the entrepreneurs are suffering because they're busy running behind viral content.
Correct.
And then they're losing the track on their real community.
Absolutely.
And then they're really, if you see at the end of the day, the leads that actually for what they're representing, they don't even have those leads. They're just getting popular, or maybe they're actually just getting behind the viral reach, but somewhere they're not able to convert that into business.
True.
I think that having that blend of viral content or content that actually has maximum reach, plus something that builds trust and something that brings business is if you have the blend of all three, I think it could be an amazing content. Yeah,
absolutely agreed. See, content is what's the job of creating content? Why are you creating content, right? The reason why entrepreneurs should create content, or at least they should hold the fort, is because I want to talk to my consumers directly.
Correct.
Don't forget about selling. Selling will be done by ads. Even the moment you start running ads on Meta and Google, you will start getting sales as long as your product is good. You have got some reach already on social media platforms. You have audiences warmed up. You will get sales. I always try to explain that your product and your content creates the desire to buy a product.
Correct.
Ads capture the demand. They don't create desire. Ad says, this is my product. This is my call to action. Click here. And maybe an offer, a welcome offer. That's it. Ads are all about that. They do extremely well.
Very
ads,
specific and
very specific to the point. But ads do the job of converting people who are already part of your ecosystem. The moment you start running ads on entirely cold audience or people, becomes very expensive, and that's where businesses bleed, right? So I believe, coming back to your question on the budget allocation, I would start with marketplaces, going heavy.
You said 40% on marketplaces?
Yeah, 40-50% marketplaces. Social content, another 25-30%.
Okay.
Right? 20% I would still keep for performance on my own website. But my expectation will not be to get X number of orders every day. I'm warming up. I'm warming up Meta, I'm warming up Google, I'm warming up my audiences. I'm seeing what people are clicking on, what creatives are getting clicks, where are people going when they land on my website. I need to have base data in place so that I can improvise. So that 20% which I'm spending money, I'm not expecting to make money out of that. Making money is coming from
It's about creating awareness.
Yeah, it's about creating awareness. It's about making sure that my content is visible to right people. Organically, it will be slow, but with paid ads, I can boost the entire process. So about 20% I'll keep on paid. Retention will be very small when I'm starting out because there is no database that I have to capitalize on. The only expense that I will have on retention is actually the tool cost. The tools that I recommended, right? Those tools will have their own fees or cost, but otherwise outside of it, there will be very minimal cost in retention. The moment your business starts to scale, these percentages change a lot.
Okay.
A lot, right? But initially, if I have 10,000, that's how I will divide. One important aspect I want to mention here, that when I'm creating content on organic, I will not create content only to get reach. I will have a system in place by which I can get people back to my website.
Correct.
Even organically.
Okay.
Which creators are doing with automation now. You would have seen on Instagram, people say that, comment this and get a link, right? Do that. Do that with almost every content piece you're making, at least initially. Because someone who is seeing your content, if you're able to get them on your website, even if they just click on the link and come to your website, now they are part of your remarketing pool. Then when you are running ad on Meta, these people will see your ad first. So this is not cold audience.
It creates a very a silent reach.
Yes. And if you can capture email IDs and you can give some sort of guide, some video, additional video, even better. And then your retention marketing gradually starts kicking in.
So if I summarize, you said that from 10,000 dirhams, I will spend 40% almost on marketplaces. 20% maybe on the website, to build the website, to basically offer products through the website. 20% I would spend on social media. And maybe 20% maybe still through some organic or retention tools that are there.
Now 10% on retention.
10% on retention and maybe 10% on the other organic parts which is there. Now when you say the other organic part, there are few other organic parts which I feel are getting, maybe I don't know whether they're getting defunct or I don't know. One is email. Are email relevant today?
Emails are extremely relevant.
Bulk emails and all.
Not bulk emails. What is relevant with respect to emails is that I will only open an email, firstly, if it is personalized. Okay. It takes my name. It talks about maybe something I checked out on your website, something I'm interested into, and it drives an action. Action could be, if you want to read more, go to this page. Or if you want to buy, this is the link. Emails absolutely work as long as they are smart. If you do bulk emails or cold emails, in my view, in my experience, the success rate is very, very low. And I don't understand the concept of cold emails on emails, right? I mean, you can get as creative as you can.
My email from a long time.
Yeah, you can get creative with copywriting within the emails, but if you talk to real entrepreneurs, right? And if you're working in marketing, you're supposed to manage capital on someone else's behalf.
Correct.
If you are starting your content with being quirky, funny, and this is the reason why I don't prefer and I don't use meme hooks in my content. Imagine a CMO of a multi-million-dollar company sitting and seeing my content using memes, trying to get attention. He might like the content,
correct,
but he'll not give me his contract.
Correct.
Unlikely, right?
I agree to this.
So emails still work, but you have to personalize them. For example,
I was doing a research and I figured out that emails, the open rate is about 20%. But if you see the click rate or the response rate is less than even 3%.
Yeah.
So why will someone even put effort in that direction? And I can see your point of why you have actually allocated such low percentage to email, and you've actually removed it out of the system of the marketing actually.
Yeah.
It's not even a marketing tool for you. Okay, you may create awareness. But again, there you say that you create very, very specific content where there's a call to action.
Emails is not about mass reach as much. You can do once a month. You are still reaching out to your own audience when you are doing mass reach. I'm doing a flat 20% off promotion. I'll send it out to everyone. Fine. But when it comes to emails that actually work, are personalized email. For example, I have a base of about 35,000 email IDs. These are the people who have subscribed to my newsletters over the last 1 or 2 years. Now, when I talk about a product there, it doesn't get good open rates. But there's a series I do once or twice a month, which is called Sunday Musing.
Okay.
Which is very personalized. I will not talk about any tool there.
Okay.
I will not talk about what is happening in marketing ecosystem. I will give my own personal filtered view of where marketing is heading. So if it is about AI, I will have a very strong opinion on don't start learning AI with tools. Okay. In my view, you should identify where the pain point in your marketing is. For example, research is a pain point because it takes too much time. Okay. Now that problem needs to be solved with AI.
Okay.
But identifying problems is a skill in itself, I feel. You can't pick up wrong problem to solve, right? But my Sunday Musing newsletters are very personalized. I discovered XYZ and I made a mistake and I don't want you to make the mistake. Therefore, follow these framework.
Steps. Yeah. Okay.
These kind of emails are not meant to sell you anything. In many cases, they don't even have a button to click. It's just the game of staying at top of the mind. And this email will go Sunday at 10 a.m. People expect if I miss out sending on a Sunday, I get DMs that, did I not get the email or you have not sent it out? But the point is,
it's more like a guiding newsletter.
Yeah, it's a guiding newsletter. Plus, I believe if you are creating content, right, especially short form content, you need to have one platform where you're going deep. It could be YouTube or it could be newsletters. It could be both if you have time bandwidth. In my case, I prefer newsletters because I believe that I am already getting enough reach on Instagram. And if I have to boil down the users, a newsletter is a simpler way for me.
Correct.
Right? Compared to YouTube. So if you are looking at it from that perspective, that I have depth, but I'm limited by a clock of a minute. I can't go beyond a minute because algorithm doesn't support me. Then I will filter the users to my email ID because that is where I will create trust with my long form content. That is where you will see depth. You can't see depth in a 1 minute.
And that's where you will get to address very personalized email holders also.
Correct. Absolutely.
I think that's
I can capture who has opened my email ID, emails, all the emails that I have sent out. I can create a separate segment of the users who open all my emails from the last 5-10 emails that I have sent out. And if I want to give them any specific promotion, offer, early access, early bird to any of my products, I know that this is my loyal audience.
So if I have to summarize this, I believe that what you're trying to say is that use the email more as a communicator.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to promote any products, create it as a medium of trust that someone is, communicating to you, and allow them to communicate to you. So maybe that's where the trust gets built.
Absolutely.
Through the email, and that's where emails can be used as a tool for communicator.
Yeah. The way I look at it is email is an extension of content you create on social.
Correct.
They need to be connected. They can't be completely disjointed. So if I am engaging with your brand on social, I mostly know the type of content you create. Now, if you are digressing from there in your emails, I will stop engaging. So email, if you are deciding that I will create these 5 reels in the coming week, 1 or 2 of those content ideas can become an email where you can go deep. That's otherwise you will have to keep thinking of new ideas to create emails also, which is not required.
So if I'm a brand that actually speaks about a lot of skin items or skin products, and then one fine day I just walk in and say, okay, I started this dancing course, I think people will get disconnected.
No, absolutely not. That should not happen.
So, yeah. Another form of organic reach is the blogs. Do you think blogs are really still relevant again? Do you think people even have the time to sit and read blogs? When is the last time that you've actually removed time and written a blog?
I think the purpose of blog has changed over the last 2 years.
Okay.
Until a few years back, brands used to write blogs because it used to work more from SEO perspective. It used to get people on the website through search engines like Google. Now, search itself is democratized. It's not only Google anymore. It's Google. Within Google also, there is Google Search, there is Gemini. Then you have ChatGPT and you have multiple other platforms and tools, Perplexity and so on. So the reason why brands still need to invest in blogs is if you are creating a unique piece of content which is not copy-paste or completely AI generated, the probability of your content or your blog to get picked up and shown to users on a Gemini result or ChatGPT is a lot more. So if you are writing 10 blogs, probably 1 or 2 blogs, and within those 1 or 2 blogs, maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs will get picked up by these platforms and they will be shown to users with a link back to your website. So it's not about whether people are reading my blog or not. It's about how relevant your content is, even if it is not a 1,000-word blog anymore. If you're creating micro blogs, it's completely fine. As long as you are not creating content which every other competitor of yours is creating. So how you add that uniqueness in your blogs becomes important. So yes, it is still relevant, but don't create blogs with the expectation that people will read from top to bottom.
Correct.
You make blogs to make the lives of these LLMs, which is ChatGPT, Gemini, to make their lives simpler. They'll pick up the piece of content, show it to users, give a link back to your website. There are high chances that you can get the user from these platforms to your own website. For that purpose, I believe blogs are still important, but not creating like 2,000-word blogs anymore. I don't think that's...
I can actually relate to what you're saying because about 6-7 years back, I'd written a blog about the food truck license in Dubai. And that time it was very complex because there has to be a DEWA approval, that's electricity, and then you had to figure out a space. Then within that, how to get license on a mobile truck. It was very complex about 8 years back. And I'd written a blog of how we got one food truck approval from the Dubai Economic Department. And we just posted about it, and we written through the blog or through our website. And I'll tell you that I've got so much of inquiries only relating to that. And exactly what you said, that somewhere organically Google started picking it up and then circulating it about the food truck, because not much content was written about the food truck business in Dubai that time.
Yeah. That's the power of organic content. That's the power of even YouTube to a large extent, right? Or even blogs. Once you create it, it's there. It will give you inquiries, leads, business, even 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line. And I think a lot of early stage founders do not realize it because they have not seen the power of that content yet. The moment you see such a power, I'm sure when you saw inquiries coming in, your mind starts functioning, how do I create more of such? So until that you reach that stage, I believe you should still create blogs, but don't get into a habit of writing like 5 blogs or 3 blogs a week. Not required. As long as you find something interesting, unique, or if it is curiosity driven, it's good enough. And the other recommendation I have on blogs is, which is very common misconception in founders, that why do I need to write a blog when ChatGPT can do it in under a minute? ChatGPT works on certain trained data. It does not know your version, your story, your pain points, your emotional journey, your emotional attachment to the brand and product. It doesn't have that context. So I think it's important that even if you're using these tools to generate output, you should still have a layer of your own personalized input behind every piece of
Because it
content.
does not have that psychological profile of what we want with our product.
Correct.
It's just about curating data.
Yeah, it is curating it. Even if you give that insight, it will still apply its own logic. See, there's a problem with these tools, right? They hallucinate a lot. Now, hallucination is that ChatGPT or all of these tools, they work on predicting your next word. And the prediction happens at the back of data that they are trained on. Now, many a times, the prediction does not stitch. It does not come together. And it tells you anything and everything. It starts to hallucinate, right? It gives you responses which probably you will not agree to. But because it is giving you such polished response,
Correct.
you think it's good. It can go to my website, but it does not help. In fact, Google has explicitly come up with these updates that if you're using too much synthetic content on your website, which is simple copy paste from AI tools, Google will not prefer those websites, right? There has to be create content when you see a reason to create content. Don't create for the sake of it or just because you see your competition has 500 blogs.
Yeah, I think that's what most of the people do.
Yeah.
Another last part of the organic reach is the SEO. Is SEO dying? Because I'll give you why I'm giving you this context. Because there was a time where I used to do this, everything that I wanted to search, I used to go on Google and I used to search. So it means it was more about a Q&A. I used to write a question and I used to get an answer, and the answers used to be, the best one used to pop up on top, and maybe we used to figure out and we used to call. Now, the ecosystem is changing. The time I start talking, I have been offered products by itself. So it means the search is dying. So when my search is dying, do SEO still remain relevant or is it dead? That's my question. And do I really need to invest? Because now, even I don't get calls from SEO companies anymore. Very few companies are left that actually says, I'm offering you SEO services. And that actually, and I used to really think that, okay, should I really keep the SEO function going on in my company? Because I don't find it's relevant enough. And do I need to spend budgets on that to create backlinks?
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
I think it's a very hot topic and a little controversial as well. I come from SEO background to a large extent, and when I started creating content, first few content pieces I put out on Instagram were SEO analysis of different websites, and that got reach and first few followers for me. So I know I've seen the journey of SEO from last 10-11 years easily. My view on this is that it is definitely going through a big change, the overall SEO as a channel. And the reason is because user behavior is changing. But is it dying or is it dead? I think it's too early to say that. And I'll tell you why. People are still doing searches in different ways. If I want to get an answer today, I will go on ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity, depending on what type of answer I'm looking for. People have different preferences. So if I'm going on those tools and I'm doing a research, you would want your website to appear there, your product to appear there. How will it appear there? You still need to do the fundamentals of SEO. So whatever Google has decided over years, which Google has been following over years, that if websites do these 200 things right, their probability to show up is higher. Those fundamentals are still intact, be it ChatGPT, Gemini, or any of those tools. So if you want your website or product to appear on this new search platforms, you still have to do the fundamentals of SEO. The reason why this debate is SEO dying is because people relate SEO is equal to Google search, and rightly so.
Correct.
Now, is Google search itself dying? As long as we look at data, which is again, of course, published by Google, it doesn't say so. That searches are still intact, but what behavior change we are seeing, and this is again coming from Google, is that people are not clicking on results as much. They're making searches, they get the response in an AI overview on Google as well. And they get the response or the answer, the information they want. They don't click on a link. This behavior is called zero-click searches. I get the information I want from Google, Gemini, whichever tool. Why should I click on a link and go to a website? Now, this behavior is real. There is a exponential rise of zero-click searches. Now, the problem with zero-click searches is if you are selling a face cream again, and if I look for a face cream, search for it on any of the platforms, if your result is visible to me and I don't click on it, you don't know whether it's working for you or not. Maybe I saw your product, I liked your product, I go to Amazon, make a search of your product and buy from there.
Correct.
Now you will say Amazon is working for me, but Amazon was the converting channel. Discovery actually happened somewhere else and you can't track that discovery at the moment. So it's going through a big shift. SEO overall is going through a big shift. There are new buzzwords coming in, GEO, AEO, all of that. I believe it will take some time for dust to settle. If you are a new business, what you should do, use ChatGPT or any of those tools to identify what are the basic fundamentals of SEO I should do on my website. Don't hire an agency.
What will be your
I
strategy?
believe, firstly, the first thing you have to make sure is your pages on the website follow certain hierarchy. They are not random.
Okay.
So if I have specific guides, if I have 4, 5, 6 guides, it follows a hierarchy. mywebsite.com/guides.
Okay.
And all the guides are listed there, right? Identify the hierarchy of your website, which again, you can feed in the information.
How do you do that?
I would recommend use ChatGPT or Gemini. Gemini, in my view, is better compared to ChatGPT. But the way you should do it is give Gemini all the information about your product, the kind of sections you are planning to have on your website, and ask it to generate a URL-friendly, SEO-friendly URL structure.
Okay.
And you have to simply follow that. But following a clean architecture of the website, which comes from an expert opinion, which need not be an SEO agency today, is the first fundamental you will have to take care of. Let me also give you the technical term used for it, in case anyone wants to make a note. It's called information architecture.
Information architecture, yeah?
That needs to be clean. That you are not, if you want to add a new guide tomorrow, it should go under the guides section. And you don't create a new page altogether, which is not connected back to your guides section. So that structure needs to be clean, number one. Number two, the way these platforms work, Peter, is that if you have, let's say, 500 pages on your website. Now, within each of the pages, there are thousands and thousands of lines of codes.
Correct.
Right? Can Google or any of these platforms scan through those codes? Yes, they can. But why don't you make their life simpler? If you have, let's say, a blog, why don't you just tell Google or any of these platforms that this is the most important part of my blog? And there are codes for that.
Okay.
Technical term used is schema.
Schema.
Yeah. So if you have, let's say, what is a schema? Schema is a piece of code that you implement on your website, which helps Google or any of these tools to identify the context of the page.
Wow.
So if you...
So it becomes so easy for them to basically fetch your page.
Yes. It will fetch the most important information and show it to users. The most classic example of this is if you make search on Google today of any movie, for example, Interstellar. When you see the result coming from IMDb, you would see the star ratings.
Correct.
You will see the reviews.
Correct.
That is getting pulled from schema. Right? So these are the information which will very soon will be shown on these AI platforms as well. So identify those important schemas. Again, use these AI tools. You do not need an agency for this as well. Identify those schemas. Gemini will also give you the code that needs to be implemented. Copy the code, give it to your developer, ask them to implement.
That's the developer on the back end has to implement this.
Yes, you still need a developer. I believe.
Yeah, that's fine. The website developer
should be there. Yeah. Right. So that is the second thing, because I believe it's not only my belief, but I've seen the documents of OpenAI, Google. Schema becomes an important aspect that they look at very, very closely. This is the second thing. Third is invest in PR.
Okay.
Because when it comes to AI platforms, I've noticed that they scan the information about you online very fast and in the most efficient manner. So if you are a new business and the 10% of the budget, like I said, which is
Correct.
probably left over, invest in PR.
Hmm.
Create a narrative, be present on relevant lifestyle portals, magazines,
So when you say
websites.
PR, what do you really mean?
PR is, let's say I'm launching this face cream. I will hire an agency,
Okay.
PR agency,
Hmm.
and I will tell them that I am coming up with this new product. This is the story I want to tell, and I want different publications to cover me.
Hmm.
But when they are covering me, I don't just want an offline coverage. I want online coverage. Like
And should be more industry specific.
industry specific. And let's decide on the narrative.
Hmm.
I struggled with this problem on my skin for like 5 years. I realized that there was no solution available, and that's how I came up with this product. Right? There could be multiple PR narratives. You raise funds, you do PR. Right? You hit certain milestone, you do PR. So I believe that on a continuous basis, you should invest in making those narratives and selling those narratives with the help of PR. But don't cross the line. Like, don't create fake narratives. That doesn't, once your audience catches hold of it, it doesn't work. But purely from SEO perspective, I believe you do not have to create hundreds and thousands of backlinks anymore. Just high quality PR mentions will get you the placement you want on ChatGPT, Gemini. Ideally, most of the businesses I'm working with, they hire an agency on a retainer, a small retainer. They decide that your articles will go on these 15, 20 portals. We decide the narrative, what will go behind it, and it just goes out. And you will see that the moment it starts going on these portals, it gets picked up and indexed by these platforms within 24 hours. So if you search for a brand or a product, you will see that this product got mentioned in Forbes, for example, right? Or any other lifestyle.
No, I like the way you actually distributed the budget. That you did not specifically work on one aspect of the digital marketing. You said, okay, let us break it into parts.
It's like a
and which is more relevant.
No, absolutely. See, it's the analogy I like to give is, it's like a plane, right? And you're responsible to fly the plane. If any part of the plane is not under your control, and if you don't have visibility, if things go south, you can't afford to say that I did not know about it, right? So you need to have control over everything from front to back. And that's why all these channels need to play their own roles. So when I get into working with a brand, the only model I have is full stack consulting. So if you tell me, solve this problem for me, which is, let's say I'm getting bad quality leads, but only solve it with the help of ads. I say, that's not how it works, right? If you don't give me control over your content, your website, your CRM, I don't know how, sales team is calling them up and so on. I can't solve just with the help of ads. So as a founder, entrepreneur, the common mistake I see they make is they hire subject matter experts, one for SEO, one for ads and so on, right?
Correct.
But who is bringing them all together? Like, where is the cohesion?
The founder trying to do everything.
Founder is into many things, right? What is the brain that is bringing them all together? And I saw this gap in the market. This is the reason why I did not open another agency.
Correct.
Because that thinking brain, which I know is difficult to scale, but if you're able to do high quality work, you will find your solace or mojo in that, right? So how all of this is coming together. This month, we will focus more on XYZ product. The narrative is not the pricing. The narrative is Valentine's Day coming up. Now, the Valentine's Day needs to be, first of all, it has to be a campaign. Now, campaign thought has to be given. What will we call it? How it stems into your ads, your PR, your influencers. All of this need to be stitched together. And I feel that's the
how this face cream can make a difference on this Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like if influencer is telling a story and your ad is simply saying buy one get one because it's Valentine's, does not work. And that's the most common mistake I've seen with brands across, not only in UAE or India.
So the beautiful part is even you've allocated the budget for PR, and how PR is so much, it's people actually ignore this part.
Yeah.
But how relevant it is, especially when it actually looks from a bird's eye view. When you look at the brand, yes, it's everywhere spread.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
Then the major aspects which is the social media marketing, which is
Yeah.
the big elephant. Yeah. Everyone is getting confused between what content should I push. Should I push content that actually drives trust? Should I push content that drives education? Should I push content that drives emotions? There are content that drives entertainment. Or should I push content that I have a great product to sell? What's that blend? How do I get which actually says that I can get the maximum reach and yet convert at least some portion to a business? I think this is because pata nahi, matlab somewhere I get confused in the content creation world. Because someone in Bihar is now dancing and getting millions of views, and then a Dolly Chai Wala is opening a franchise out of chai selling on a stall.
Correct.
So it's so confusing. And then someone putting so much of money and building content every day, hiring these high profile cameras and still not able to get that reach. How do you blend this? What's the best blend that, which will basically get maximum reach and the maximum result for the business as well?
See, I look at the content on social a little differently, honestly, compared to the regular content creators that you see online, right? For me, I believe that identifying the purpose for which you are creating content is step one. Why do you want to create content? A lot of creators out there create content with the hope of getting a brand deal. Okay? Which I feel is the last thing you should be worried about. I keep saying this on my content. I keep putting stories. The number of brand deals I have said no to, that score is 177 right now.
Wow.
Right? Over the last 2 years.
And why was that?
I don't want to do it. See, that's where your guardrails come into picture. I'm an educator. If I start selling products left, right, center, people will lose trust. Right? And I am not stretched in terms of making money with brands. That's not the purpose why I started making content. So when you talk to these content or influencer management agencies, which gets you brand deals, they will always tell you, don't go so technical, talk more broad, mass, do a little bit of infotainment, and so on. I spoke to a couple of such agencies and I said, that is not me. And I don't even want to get into that zone. But I believe the purpose why you want to create content is the first thing you should realize. It can't just be reach. What will you do out if you get 2 million, 3 million, 10 million reach or even 50 million? What will happen thereafter? So the purpose is important. From a content creator perspective, brand deals you can get, but it's very unpredictable, right? So might as well not rely on it. But from a business standpoint, I believe there are 2-3 rules that I try to apply. Number one is, if you are just getting started and if you are stretched on funds, then build your own brand first. Build a bit of personal presence, because that is your biggest leverage. That travels and that will travel better than any other product. And
the founder creating the content.
And
speaking to his and trying to build audience, stating that this is the product that I've launched and this is what
I would say not even talk about the product that you have launched. Right? All of that comes in later. You build your own presence first. But don't build it randomly. You have to keep in mind that 6 months down the line, I have to milk this audience. I have to generate business out of it, right? So you have to create content which is your niche and not do anything and everything. So purpose is number one. Secondly, I believe as a founder, you should define the guardrails of what you will not do as part of content creation process. The more serious kind of target audience you want to capture, the stronger should be your guardrails. The journey will be slow, but it will be so rewarding, I can't tell you, right? So what are those guardrails or what are those rules you want to define of the playbook where you do not want to get into, right? For example, I'll not do politics. I don't have
current affairs.
Yeah, I'll not have a stand on that. I'll not talk about anything which has got to do with religious sentiments. It's dangerous to go there, right? Define those things so that even if someone comes from outside, they know they don't have to, even on a story, they can't, cross the border, cross the line. So I believe what you don't want to do, define that very, very clearly. That is number 2. Number 3, understand your feedback loop needs to be very short. You put out a piece of content, you see whether it's working or not and what is the definition of working. definition of working is whether the content was a share-worthy, save-worthy content, or it was just created to get views, right? So in my view, some of the numbers that one needs to look at is shares, my content got,
So how many people have shared?
shared it, how many people have saved it, what is the retention of my video, right? If it's a 30-second video, how many of them are watching it till the end? How many people are seeing my content which are not my followers? And this is where Instagram has done a good job over the last year or so.
Correct.
That they make sure every piece of content is visible to a small subset of non-followers.
Yeah.
If it picks up there, great. Then it will start pushing your content to non-followers. But the basic metrics that I would look at are these 3 or 4 metrics to begin with. So third is your feedback loop needs to be shorter. If I see a piece of content is not doing any of this, it's maybe I need to rethink. Then how did it exactly help my purpose, right? And many a times I've seen founders making content to make sure that I get share, I get saved. Because if you're talking about face cream and if it is targeted towards a little in a contrarian view, let's say you're speaking to men. Your product you will launch is to women. But what men need to understand about skincare regime or routine of women, right? That content is shareable because either men will share with women or women will share with men, or it will go in family groups, right? So you create content with that purpose and see whether it is getting shares or not. So the third aspect is that you have to have those feedback loops. Also, I believe that do not let go of an idea very soon. See, you don't know whether something is going to work for you or not if you have not tried it over 5, 6, 7, 8 times, right? So that's why I believe that your frequency and consistency becomes important. Try to post twice a day if you can.
Okay.
But keep your feedback loop short. And therefore, if something is not working out for you, probably a content idea, a content theme, a trend you were trying to follow, some opinion you were trying to create, if that is not working, you've tried it out 4, 5 times, do away with it.
How does the algorithm works? Because if someone is creating content, see, 5 years back, the content was maybe in millions, and today now the content is in billions per day. So when someone is creating content twice a day and you have 2-3 billion content and there's only limited eyeballs that's available, or maybe the number of hours that we are going to watch a screen is 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
In that case, how does the algorithm of the Meta or of these platforms operate so that you get that viewership?
Correct.
How does that operate from the back end? Because that's a different ecosystem that actually, you have done all your efforts.
Yeah.
You have found the purpose, you have built a content, you have whatever the standards of the platform is, you have actually met all.
Yeah.
You, in your vanity, you have also created the content that actually has the most meaningful, most valuable, shareable, savable, everything. But then a lot depends on these platforms as well.
Yeah.
What's that? How does that platform picks you up, saying that, okay, fine, this is the content that I need to maximize the reach?
Yeah. This is where we started this podcast with, understanding the logic of platforms.
Correct.
Comes into picture. You need to understand how these platforms categorizes users.
Okay.
Right? Now this categorization happens on the basis of interest, demographic, and behavior.
Interest,
demographic, and behavior.
Okay.
Interest is something which is short term, which is I'm interested in yoga content today. I'm consuming yoga content as a consumer. I'm liking it. Maybe I'm planning to join a yoga class, but it is short-lived. I might engage with it today. I might not engage with it tomorrow, which is very common on social media platforms. So as a brand, therefore, when you are making content, that's the reason why it needs to be snappy and your hook becomes important. Because if your content is visible to anyone who is part of this interest group, it's not a cold audience. It's kind of warm audience because they're already interacting with more yoga brands, let's say, for example, right? So if you are doing justice with your content in the form of being meaningful to them in a way that, okay, my product is not only a yoga mat, but I solve something which has got to do with nervous system, and this is the science of it. you're at least adding some value to that user. The shelf life of this content will be very small. It will work for a day or 2 days and then start to taper down. But in that time frame, the way algorithm will work is, firstly, it will try to show your ad to people who are already interested in that piece of content.
Okay.
And algorithm captures that information on the basis of what you are talking about, what you are speaking, right? What language, what words you are using. Algorithm is smart enough to capture that. And that's why I always say that if you are selling a face cream or a yoga or whichever product, talk about the product, talk the keywords that you want to use in your content, because algorithm will push the video or the reel or the post towards that audience. So what you are saying, your words matter in short form content. So the first way the algorithm works is, of course, it tries to show your content to people who are interested in that piece of content. The other parallelly, what algorithm also does is, of course, showing it to your followers, people who are engaging with you big time. Now, the more engagement you get, probably if your engaged pool is people who are liking, commenting, saving, sharing your previous content pieces, they will of course see your content as well, right? But I'm talking about non-followers. Non-followers journey starts from interest, right? Then it moves to demographic. Demographic is your regular. If I am creating content sitting in Dubai, in all likelihood, my non-followers who will see my content will be people from Dubai to begin with.
Oh,
right. And this happens more so on TikTok, right? So, but if I'm creating a piece of content from India, and I want to reach out to people in US and Dubai, very, very difficult organically. Therefore, I would use the words like UAE in my content. I will use the words or references which are UAE specific in my content, because I'm giving this soft signal to algorithm to reach out to those audiences.
or at least I will write it down.
I think more than writing, it's about speaking.
Okay.
Okay. Writing is good if you can do, but if you're not speaking the language of your audience, if you're not using those keywords, the probability of your content to go towards that audience is less, even if you're writing it down in caption. Right. So I think that becomes the demographic aspect.
Very good insights.
Behavior is anything which is long term. I'm using an iPhone. I will not change an iPhone tomorrow or next week. It's a long term behavior. I'm an expat. I am an expat. Right. I will not change that. So anything which you don't change or you can't change, there is friction to change, is all part of your behavior. Now, this is the slowest to build when it comes to content, organic content. This is, I believe that from organic content perspective, it will be difficult for you to reach out to people who are, let's say, frequent travelers or expats and so on.
No, like in our product, it would be easy for Instagram to figure out that Apurv is using some face cream.
Yeah. Correct.
And he's not going to change his behavior.
I'll tell you how it happens, right? If I post a piece of content, if 100 people saw it, let's say, out of 100 people, 10 people who engage with the content, Instagram is smart enough to understand everything about those 10 people who have engaged, including their devices, operating system. If out of 10 people, 7 were using an iPhone, Instagram will automatically start pushing it to people who are using an iPhone. Not only from organic content perspective, but this happens on ads also.
Yeah?
Yeah. This happens across, right? So even if you are not signaling that to the platform, but because your content is appealing to entrepreneurs, and if there is any logical hypothesis that they are using iPhones, it will get exposed more to iPhone users. So the easiest way to understand this for a founder is, again, go on any of these AI tools and ask these ChatGPT, Gemini to list down the cohorts that Instagram has within interest demographics. Yeah, there are cohorts. Okay. For example, expat is a cohort.
Okay.
Frequent travelers is another cohort under behavior. Right? And there are multiple operating system, operating device. All of those are cohorts. Take a list of all these cohorts. There will be at least 200.
Okay.
Between these three. Right? Once you have those cohorts in front of you, one of the strategies I apply is, for me, when I'm looking to get attention, reach, early followers, my biggest advantage is people who are part of interest cohort. Because that audience is warmed up. So I will create, now what is interest cohort? Interest cohort, like I said, people who are interested into health, fitness, people who are not only researching about automobile, for example, but also researching about BMW. All of these are cohorts. So if I have to churn content from these cohorts, again, I'll use AI to at least get the basic idea of next 10 reels I want to post. That becomes your starting point. When you are starting out and you do not have any idea about how to grow on social media. That is an effective strategy, but algorithm works in this manner. This is how it works for organic content and even for ads, right? It works in similar fashion.
So if I basically want to make a content on maybe this face cream, and I'll speak something like this is an amazing face cream that actually has these ingredients, and these ingredients are very rare to find.
Yeah.
And these are actually sourced from Korea, which is one of the best region actually that focuses on cosmetic products, and the other genuine products, and most of the guys in UAE use it. However, this could be now available in India. So so it means now 3 territories are covering, and if someone is using an iPhone, could actually just go and pick it up through their shelf and pay it through an Apple Pay, and there's very high chances that they could win a Samsung phone.
Yeah,
something like that.
No, absolutely. That's how it needs to be.
If I create something like this, then the chances for it to spread are much more higher, because you see, I've catered to everything that what you said.
Absolutely. Or maybe just break it down into 3 parts. Create 3 separate reels depending on the audience you want to tap into. For example, if I want to, this is one thing we did for one of the brands that they wanted to tap into expats who live in UAE coming from India, right? So why can you run ads? Yes, you can. But now you have a very clear goal you want to achieve. Then you make content which relates to expats in UAE who are coming from India. And even if you have to do influencer collabs, you pick up influencers which speak that language.
Correct.
So I think if you are absolutely new, you do not have any playbook, start from understanding the logic of the platform. I believe you will be miles ahead compared to every other brand or creator if you understand that logic.
And do you think that every platform has a different system to expand their reach and
not so much
because when I break the platforms, I have some video platforms that are actually there, like Facebook, Insta, then TikTok or Snapchat, and maybe YouTube, and we have some non-video that is like LinkedIn or maybe X. Do you think that the content that needs to be created is different for
it should be.
It should be.
The content should be different.
Okay.
But I'll tell you that when it comes to the way founders can think about it, is think about it from the perspective of short form content, long form content, text based content.
Okay. So short form,
long form, and text based.
Okay.
Short form is where all your TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of those platforms sit. Long form is where your YouTube, newsletters, those mediums sit. Text based is your LinkedIn and Twitter.
Excellent.
Right? That's how you need to divide. Don't overcomplicate it by creating a new piece of content for every platform. You will get overwhelmed, and do not copy paste also. Don't blindly copy paste. Right?
So what's the framework that you use for creating content?
I firstly believe that...
do you have a framework?
Yes. I believe that if you're starting your content creation journey as an entrepreneur, start with short form content first.
Okay.
It's easier to get attention. It's easier to get a few following also from there. Do not start with a podcast. It's difficult to get an audience initially, right? Correct. Do not start with long form video. Short form video should be your first weapon. Go all in there. It's okay if you don't create a long form content for the first few months.
It's shoot it on a phone as well.
Yes. Once you have confidence, you start seeing the results which are coming in. Then you activate your text-based content, according to me, because that is still easier to create, right? And text-based is opinionated content. It's fast. On Twitter doesn't penalizes you if you post 10 times a day.
Correct.
Instagram will, right? Or the reach will go down on Instagram. That's not the case with Twitter. So I think if you have to share an opinion about anything which is going on in your industry or category, Twitter is the platform.
So it means if you post more than one time on Instagram, the reach will drop?
See, the thing is, yes and no. Okay. The reason why it may drop is because, like you said, people are using phone for a limited time on a day, right?
Correct.
If you post twice or thrice a day, unlikely that your audience will see all the posts in a single day, right?
You're overpopulating your community.
Yeah. So generally, I've seen that on Instagram, a good shelf life of a post, whether it'll do well or not, is between 7 to 9 hours.
Okay.
If it picks up, then it will pick up, right? Otherwise, it won't. The only outlier in today's time is our carousals. Carousals might pick up 2 days, 3 days later also. But once you have posted, it's there on your feed. If it picks up, great, right? But short form content usually has a shelf life, not shelf life, but it picks up in 7 odd hours. So even if you're posting twice a day, keep that gap of 7 to 8 hours. I think it's still okay. I strongly believe that frequency of 2 posts a day is good on Instagram, as long as you are not diluting the quality of posts.
Okay.
You are not doing it for the sake of it, right? So I think on Instagram, that is absolutely fine. But I would like to break down my content framework or approach into short form, long form, and text-based. Long form is difficult to create.
Yeah.
You need commitment. You need to block time on your calendar. Plus, you need to show the depth in long form content. YouTube will not work for you if you do it like 2 times.
But you can always, as a founder, go on a popular podcast and talk about your products, or at least you can be a guest.
Absolutely.
I mean, even if you don't want to create a podcast, you can actually go and speak about your brand, right? To different podcasters and explain them how your product is.
You should do that, but don't start a podcast yourself.
Yeah.
When you're just getting started, right? That does not work. Plus, it just takes too much of your time and energy.
Correct.
But yeah, that's how I typically break it down. I believe that as a founder, you should not run behind all the platforms. You should not even push your agencies and teams to be active on all the platforms. If you're using or creating content on Instagram and you think that the same content should go on LinkedIn, it is more of an ego thing than doing any benefit to your business, right? It will not travel on Instagram. It will not travel on LinkedIn unless you are making the content native to LinkedIn, what works on the platform. So the theme and core of content can still be the same, but copy pasting from one platform to the other generally does not work.
And the text-based?
Text-based is, like I said, right? Twitter, I believe even you can try out Threads in today's time. I use Threads as well. In fact, after Instagram, my second biggest following is on Threads. If you have Instagram presence, it's easier to migrate that audience to Threads.
Correct.
I believe that anything which is, like I said, opinionated is one theme of content you can think of in text-based. The second is reactive content, right? You saw something happening, someone tweeted something, you want to share a perspective or a reaction. It could be positive, negative, whatever it is. But reacting on something is the second kind of content. I believe text-based content works better when you are reacting. Third is, see how you can create some bit of share-worthy content on text-based platforms, right? I really like what this guy always says. There's a creator in India called Tanmay Bhatt.
Okay.
Right? What he says is that, I'm using his example, that why someone shares a piece of content, at the back of their mind, they are working on their own personal brand. If I share a piece of content with you or in my friends, family group, I'm working on my own personal brand. How will I look if I share this piece of content? It's not about the people who are part of the group. How will I look? How will people perceive me? So if a piece of content is created which makes me look smarter, which makes my feed look more intellectual, I will share that piece of content, right? So that anyone who is looking at that content thinks, this guy has made it, let me share it, instead of me putting my mind and creating it, right? So I think that is the other kind of content when it comes to text formats.
Sharing to your peer guys and all that.
Yeah,
And
think
showing
of,
that your intellectual...
think of content like trends is a very common example. Anything which is happening on Twitter, etc. Not every trend you can be part of, but where you think it makes sense, you have defined the guardrails where you will not go. Anything outside of it is being spoken about on Twitter, you share your take on it. What is your view? Just share that, right? I believe because it's a trend, it is anyway traveling, it will anyway be showed under the trends section on Twitter. The probability of you to get attention from there is a lot higher with respect to text-based content or posts, right? That is how I believe you need to look at these textual formats. But as a founder, I also want to conclude by saying It's okay if you are not present on these platforms. Be present where your consumer is. If you think your consumer is more on Instagram and you want to capture that audience, then make sure you make a killing out of that platform first before you start, digressing and activating.
You can multiple use those videos somewhere else as well. I mean, you could recirculate them in other platforms.
If you just want to keep those platforms alive, great, do it. But I am little skeptical about recirculation where you are recirculating it as is. If I'm making a reel and if I have a perspective that I'm sharing on that reel, I can post that content on LinkedIn as well. But it needs to be packaged differently. The way it works on LinkedIn is not using a massy trending hook. LinkedIn is more about first person content. I witnessed this and therefore I did this and so on, right? So as long as you are changing the packaging of content, I think you're good.
The last part is the most important part, which is the performance marketing.
Yeah.
Which I believe that you're the master when it comes to planning the performance marketing and executing this, because I seen one of your video, I guess, and you explained that that today digital marketers, they feel that that they're performance marketers by just learning the platform and posting a campaign and just understanding how a campaign runs. So they create some creative and they just launch it through the platform, and they actually showcase themselves as a lead generator.
Yeah.
Is it only limited to this, or there is deep science in it? That when I can say that I'm a performance marketer, because I have to be accountable for the money that I'm throwing away. Because if they don't understand maths, then this is a big problem. Because my credit cards are linked to those platforms, and every minute the money is getting burnt. And if my performance marketer doesn't know where the money is going and does not know how the money is getting consumed, don't you think it's an issue? And at that time, how would you basically pick up a performance marketer? What will be your strategy?
See, this entire field of performance marketing, firstly, for everyone who doesn't know what performance marketing is, it's essentially looking at data and taking decisions, marketing decisions based on data. You don't go as per your gut feel or your taste so much. You go as per what data is telling you. But I feel the entire performance marketing piece has changed or has gone through major shift over the last few years. Before AI explicitly came into the picture, the role of performance marketing was very, very deep, because I have a product to sell. I have to decide that who is the audience or people who will see my ad. That control was with performance marketers for the longest period of time. So we will define our audience persona and so on, and we'll do the targeting, pinpoint the people that should see our ad. That doesn't happen anymore. That is not required anymore, because these platforms, be it Google, Meta, or any other platforms, they are smart enough to find the right audience for you. So the role of performance marketers has shifted a lot. Performance marketers made their career at the back of making sure the targeting is right. Right? People are seeing my ad. People have made their careers at the back of just with this expertise. That right people are seeing my ad, and therefore it is converting. Now automation and AI has taken that away. You don't decide who will see your ad.
Correct.
Platforms will decide. Now what? Now what is left with performance marketers if you don't decide? Therefore, I believe that a lot of performance marketers are stuck here now, because they build their career by doing which is now automated.
Yes.
Now, what are the things that they need to upskill with? I believe there are two areas where performance marketers really need to think through. Number one is understand the complete dynamics of running a business. If you are selling a product for, let's say, 100 dirham, and the gross margin you have in that product is only, let's say, 60%, right? And then you have other costs, ad costs, etc. At the end of the day, if you are not getting one sale for me of 100 dirham product in 5 dirham or 7 dirham or 10 dirham, it's a loss for me. Correct? But if you are spending 20 dirham to get a sale for me of that product, you might say that the ad is working because you got a sale, but the pockets of the business are empty.
Correct.
Understanding the finance behind marketing becomes important. understanding unit economics, little bit of P&L. I believe performance marketers need to upgrade or upskill themselves to understand what should be the decision-making metrics or where should they spend money. Performance marketer had very limited control over where the money should be spent, on which product, on which service, etc. But now I believe that power dynamics is also changing. I have 10 products to promote. Now you tell me which products I should run ads on. But if you spend more than 15 dirhams on this product, I will lose money. You will say that I got a sale, but it's not helping the business. So understanding this little bit of the financial aspect of the product, which is your unit economics, gross margins, net margins, on which products you can actually spend money, on which products you have lesser net margin, therefore you should keep them limited. Keeping that plan in place is important. It's not about getting a sale today. It's about getting the sale of the right product where it makes sense for the business. That is one skill set which I believe, and I believe that it's my responsibility to making sure that these performance marketers are able to learn this. So that's why I have a separate product which is called Financial Literacy for Marketers.
Excellent.
Which just covers not the balance sheet and P&L.
Correct.
But as a marketer, what you should know?
You should know the amount that's invested and what's the ROI for it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a performance marketer, you cannot just say that, I've activated some ads.
Correct.
You have to be accountable for the money that's actually burnt or it's consumed.
Yeah.
Because somewhere the business is spending that money in an anticipation to get a business.
True.
And if that anticipation is not factored in the cost that you're spending, then this is going to be a disaster in a company.
You can't just be dashboard operators. You need to be architect. And if you have to be architect, you need to learn more than just what happens on dashboards. That's why when I'm conducting a training on meta ads, I don't spend more than 20% of the time on dashboard. 80% of the time is understanding these aspects, logic of the platform, the financial aspect. The other skill which I'm coming to now is understanding the content, the creative, the communication that gets you sales. So we call it performance-led content. Content that gets you the click and therefore conversion is different than that of organic.
So what do you follow? What template do you follow?
So for performance content, we follow a template called, there's a framework we have called 3C content framework.
3C?
Yeah. 3 C's here are the context, the creative archetype, and the conversion element. Context ties back to the interest targeting, which I explained something.
Can you repeat again?
Context of the
3
creative.
C's, yeah? The 3C framework.
Context of the creative. Okay. Creative archetype. And conversion element. Which decides, this framework decides who will see your ad, when will they see it, and what is the action you want to drive. Who is context, when will they see it is archetype, and conversion element is whether it has those visual cues to get sales or not. This framework itself we've implemented for multiple businesses, but I believe don't go by, like the biggest challenge I see with performance marketers and agencies likewise is they go to the founder and say, things are not working, let's do a 20% off.
Yeah.
Let's do a promotion, let's do a sale. Now, they need to understand from a founder perspective also, right? He or she is running a business, and if they keep giving offers and keep attracting discount seekers, it's not helping the business in the long run.
Correct.
It is only helping you because you have the client on board and you will renew the retainer, but it's not helping the business to a large extent. So the thinking of performance marketer to evolve from only running promotions or discounts to following this framework is the biggest gap right now in the market. And again, this upskilling needs to happen. So that is what performance marketing is today, and it will be in coming times as well. You can obviously use AI workflows as much as you want to speeden the process up, but upskilling in these two directions is important.
Coming up to the, before that, I want to understand, because a lot of real estate, Dubai actually is, the heavyweight industry in Dubai is the real estate industry.
Yeah.
And real estate industry spends a lot of money. Their per lead cost is, I think, about 100, 120 dirham.
Yeah.
And if a performance marketer doesn't actually monitor this expense, then don't you think the real estate company actually will be burnt off?
Yeah.
And if they hire a performance marketer is just monitoring this dashboard, then this is going to be much more disaster.
Correct.
In that case, what do you think they should actually do? Especially when the money is getting burnt every minute. What's that inside? What's that monitoring part? Even as a founder, I need to do. Are there any tools where I can monitor my marketer of how he is monitoring the platform? Because money is actually getting deducted from my credit card.
Yeah.
I have given the card to the marketer. The marketer has gone and activated the campaign. The campaign is now reaching based on the automated algorithms of the platforms. How do I monitor my marketer? Are there any tools, or what's the strategy that you use?
See, to founders, I typically suggest that
because I can't just depend on him.
Yeah, no one should, right? I think it's more about, see, tools. Firstly, let me answer the tools question, right? I believe that in today's time, as long as you have this basic tool stack, which is your I'll divide it into basic and advanced tools, right? Basic tools are your regular ad dashboards, Google Sheets.
Correct.
You're using a CRM, which I mentioned, right?
Correct.
These tools are in place. But if you have a slightly more complex ecosystem, which means you run multiple ads, you have agents, let's say in the case of real estate, and there are multiple agents, then there are certain advanced stack that also comes in. For example, as a founder, what is it that you want to see every day? You want to see the money that is getting spent, the lead you are getting, the qualified leads you are getting, the conversions that are happening. Now, there are custom dashboards available and tools available which gives you this information.
Okay.
For example, there's a tool called Supermetrics.
Supermetrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
This tool sends you, if you want, it sends you an email every morning 9 a.m., a summarized version of what happened in the previous day on your ad accounts.
Okay.
And it is customizable. You want any specific metric, insight, all of that you can program and you can set it up. So the businesses I'm working with, we are using Supermetrics in-house, and I get every morning 9:30 a.m. a summarized version of how the brands are performing, what is the return we are getting.
And it's an automated email.
It's an automated email.
Okay.
Every morning you'll get one email, and if you want, you can get one in the evening as well. The other tool, I believe, which can be integrated but needs to be audited very closely, are the tools which connect these different platforms. For example, a tool called Zapier. Zapier today is more about connecting workflows. For example, you're the founder of my company. I discussed with you that we need to try out these 3 creatives. For these 3 creatives, I need to make 2 videos and I want certain budget to make these 2 videos. You said, okay, go ahead, let's shoot. I shoot the videos, I create the content. Now, as a founder, you know at back of your mind that this is an experiment which is happening.
Correct.
I want to see the output of this experiment in particular, apart from the overall scheme of things.
Correct.
Now, what Zapier can do is Zapier can pull the information of a specific campaign which is happening with these creatives from your Meta Ads dashboard. It can connect to your internal CRM or a Google Sheet, whichever platform you are using, and send you an automated email if you want, which just talks about the performance of a specific type of content theme, creative, etc. Zapier acts as a bridge between connecting your CRM, your ad dashboards, your sheets, whatever you're using Zoho, you're using any other platform.
Correct.
You can connect it to a tool called Zapier. It combines the stories from different platforms and then give you a summarized version.
This is
So I think
great.
Yeah, so this is a workflow example.
Yeah.
This is what marketers need to learn. Because they don't know. The problem with people who are in marketing today is that they are seeing a piece of content on Instagram, they get fascinated by a tool, they save that reel, they try out that tool, maybe pay for it as well, they use it once or twice and then it's game over.
It's
right?
game over.
That's the wrong way of trying things out. I always believe that, I always tell everyone that if at all, if the question is AI and tools, for example, I would always recommend start with a problem you're trying to solve. And then there are tools available. Like I'll give you another example. Another tool that does a good job to understand complete user journey, which is a user came to your website through Meta Ads, checked out your product, but did not buy. Then came through Google, checked out your product, did not buy. Then came through ChatGPT and then bought from your website. Now, as a founder, you might be interested in knowing the complete journey of the user.
Correct.
And not only ChatGPT because it converts.
Correct.
How will you track? There is no single tool that tells you the entire journey until a few years back. Now there are tools like Triple Whale. Triple Whale connects your Shopify, connects your ad platforms, and it gives you a view of the entire user journey with attribution. If you got a sale from this user discovered you from Meta and then came to your website through Google and then converted through ChatGPT.
Give you a complete flow.
It gives you complete flow. But let me also be transparent. It's not 100% accurate. But it's still about 70%, 80% accurate. If
Not
that
bad.
could work for it's not
Rather
bad.
than doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're a new business, don't spend money in these tools because they're also slightly on the higher side. But when you're looking to scale, you want more data. You want to understand more about the complete user journey. As a founder, you have to do budget allocation. So if you see that Meta is getting new people in the ecosystem and thereafter Google or ChatGPT are converting users for you, spend more money on Meta. It's fine as long as they're converting through different channels. So if you want to have that visibility, Triple Whale is another tool. There is HiROS. Multiple tools are available which can be tried out. HiROS. Yeah.
What a great insight here. I mean, this is really excellent. And one more thing, just a few minutes more.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, Apurv, is about all these contents that you plan, all the structures that you make. Do you use AI for it? And do you have any model on how you actually prompt an AI? Because this is again a very challenging question. I could actually ask ChatGPT certain questions in a way that I want, and it will throw multiple answers.
Yeah.
But how relevant and personalized it is? Do you have a framework which basically you follow, which becomes very easy for me to basically, prompt my AIs?
Yeah. Yes, I do have a framework. I try to prompt these AI platforms with a framework called RCTCO. RCTCO.
Oh, okay.
R is role.
Okay.
Define a role to your prompt.
Okay.
I want you to act as a marketing strategist. I want you to act as a marketing consultant. I want you to act as a performance marketer. Define a role to these AI platforms. Then it activates the right kind of insights that you want, right? Otherwise, it will give you an insight being anything, being an entrepreneur, being
correct.
CFO, whatever, right? Define the role.
He gets an identity.
Yes, that's the right word. Give an identity to the AI platform. Okay. C is context. This is where you do breakdown of your brand, your product, your journey so far as a content creator, whatever it is. Give it a bit of context. For example, I am a marketing educator with XYZ following. These are the values I have and so on, right? You can create it once and store it in your ChatGPT, custom GPT, or even in Google Sheets, etc., right? But give a context to the platform. Give some insight, some backstory. Then you have T, task. What do you want this platform to do for you? Do you want it to give you 10 content ideas? Do you want it to give 10 hooks? Do you want it to give certain series names, some visual archetypes, some props, whatever you want these platforms to do for you? C is constraint.
Okay. What do you mean by constraint?
Define boundaries.
Okay.
This is where you control hallucination. Where you say that, give me this answer only for Instagram, only for Reels, considering I want to reach out to entrepreneurs. My content should reach out to other entrepreneurs or Gen Zs, whatever that is.
So you draw boundaries here.
You have to draw boundaries. Otherwise, it will give you answers keeping the tons of data it has been trained on. So that defining of boundary is extremely important. O is the output format. Whether you want result in a table, a bullet point, a text, a code, an image, a video, whatever that is. So when you're prompting any of these AI platforms, you need to have a structure, I believe, right? But don't overcomplicate it, number one. Number two, just keep it to a level where it's not an irrelevant or bad prompt. That you keep doing conversation. Your one prompt should give you the desired output, and then you can keep making it better if you want, right? But yeah, that's the framework I typically believe one should be using.
It's amazing, actually. See, I mean, so if I take that face cream of minds, and if I apply your context or your framework, that is RCTCO, so I would actually prompt the chat GPT or AI. I would say that, okay, I'm a founder of maybe a face cream. I am planning to basically distribute this in India. And it's for all those people that's actually suffering with acne or maybe dry skin. So I would want you to go and pick up all those patients, patients that are actually looking up for some such cosmetic products.
Yeah.
And but I would not want anyone that requires medical treatment.
Correct.
So the constraint I put it.
Correct.
And give me this in a table format with email and contact, so I can basically, is it right?
Yeah. The only change I would make is in the role part.
Okay.
I would not say I am the founder. I'll say act as a founder. You are the founder.
Okay.
Right. So you are impersonating me in some sense. You are the founder. But yeah, rest of it might not give you emails.
I got your point. But at least, somewhere at least we have a framework to talk to an AI. And I think with this, how you're managing your writing or your copywriting and everything, I think this is the framework that you use. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I use this framework more for research purposes, right? But it's up to the businesses and individuals how they want to make use of it. It can absolutely be used for content creation, idea generation, all of that. But have some framework. Like, don't go random.
No, the best part is that I think in this entire conversation, you taught us that I, as a founder, need not be too much technical, but yet I have tools to manage or to at least overlook what's happening in the digital marketing space.
Yeah.
And even doing that part would actually significantly impact the marketer, because he knows that there is a watchdog over him.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying that, okay, you just take over this and do whatever you want. I think, correct?
No, absolutely. See, marketing is moving towards building systems, infrastructure, then planning who will see my ad. We have moved away from, and it's the transition happened so fast in today's time. Who will see your ad? What creative you want to make? You can apply this 3C content framework, but churning out of creatives is fast. I mean, Google has integrated VO and Gemini within Google Ads. So if you want to make a small video, a 15-second video of your product, what you need is a prompt structure like this. If you make a video, you just need a product image. That's it. It will generate a video. It will generate a image that can go on any of the ads or any of the other placements. One important shift, therefore, I want everyone to take away from this conversation is that marketing is moving towards architects, systems. If you are not building those systems, frameworks like these, then your team will run in 10 different directions. And it doesn't help any.
The knowledge is limited to that person.
Yes.
If these architecture, these structures, and these tool sharing applications are not created, then the knowledge remains very limited.
Very limited, scattered. And it's not in sync with the pace at which platforms are moving. You have to be in sync with Meta, Google, and all the other platforms, right? So I think, that's how marketing is.
And it's also very important. So because of this, because I want these architecture, I want these structures, because I want a company that actually handles proper all the tools on the digital platform, I think it becomes so easy for me to select only those agencies that actually work in this framework.
There are very few agencies at the moment.
And so I would not hire anyone who does not know any architecture,
Absolutely.
who does not know any structure. And so, you see, now it narrowed down my hiring also process.
Yeah.
So if I have to look for a marketing manager, if I have to look for someone who says that I'm a digital marketing agency, then I would first ask them, do you have the architectures?
Yeah.
Do you have certain frameworks?
Yeah.
Do you actually know how structures operate? What sort of reports would you give me on a consistent basis that doesn't require human efforts? It has to come automated. I think it becomes so easy to select, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, agencies are very slow to adopt. And therefore, I believe we will see major shift in agencies ecosystem as well. The bigger agencies, the tier 1 agencies will adopt. They will take their own time. They are incumbent players. They will not do it fast. They will do it at their own pace. But they have the capital to absorb that shock. They will do it, right? There will be some consolidations, etc. happening, but they'll do it. But I believe the agencies which are the smaller ones, so mid-size agencies, the agencies I speak to, they are not realizing this shift is coming. They are so caught up in the deliveries of the client and pitching to new clients that they will not realize that new agency started by a 24-year-old who has these systems and frameworks on board, even if he doesn't have a strong case study, just by pitching it right, he will take away the account.
Especially when digital marketing is changing every 2 months.
Yeah.
I think having knowledge of a last year is irrelevant in this year.
Correct. And that's the reason, Peter, why I have not opened another agency. Because if I do it, if I get 50 accounts to work on, it will be very difficult for me to control this quality. I can do it with limited, but I can't do it with 50 or 100, right? And that's why this shift which is coming up now, brands will learn and evolve fast. I was talking to someone today morning. Earlier, if I had to make a website, I would hire a developer and tell them to develop a website. Correct. Now what's happening is I'm generating the full code of my website through Gemini or Emergent or any of these tools, and I'm giving to the developer that, hey, this is the code already available. Now go ahead and implement it.
Correct.
Now developers are thinking that I already have the code, which is like 10,000, 20,000 line of code already available. Now what's left to do? Right? Now they're thinking, if something breaks, how will I catch hold of it? Because I have not written that code.
Correct.
So this in tech per se, this big shift is also coming up. That developers have this habit of writing code from scratch. Now brands are giving them the code. You vet it and take it live. But if something breaks, I don't know where the problem is, because the code is written by AI. And for a software developer or a front-end, back-end expert, for them to figure out where the gap is in a 20,000 liner code will take its own time. So I think there are multiple shifts like these which are happening. But from marketing standpoint, I feel brands will evolve faster in terms of expectations. This is what we want you to do. But I feel the overall impact will force these agencies to adopt.
Let's go quickly to the second part as an educator. I mean, I seen your deep knowledge when it came to each segment of this entire conversation and different aspects of the marketing tools, and even from digital marketing pillars. All this knowledge actually is come from your practical experience, looks like. How you are very different when it comes to building a course as an educator than something that's available in an institute. I want to understand that difference, because that's what's going to make me buy your course, or maybe at least subscribe for your course, so that Apurv, I know that this gentleman has this depth of knowledge. It just not come from an academic teacher that has actually studied some academics and teaching me.
True.
He's gone and actually deeply implemented this framework, tested it, and then understood the real results of it.
Yeah.
How would your course be different?
So, see, there are a couple of things that I always mention. Number one, I am not only doing education. I'm a practitioner first. I'm still working with brands. I've been working with brands. So I am getting my hands dirty. I know what's working, what's not working, which makes my teaching more relevant. So it's not only academic, which probably I learned a few years back. It's real time, it gets updated, and that's the reason why I also do live cohorts. Because if I shot something 3 months back, probably the algorithm has shifted and I need to share updated information, and therefore I will do a live cohort. Number one. Number two, in the education space, right, I feel that setting up the right expectation is important. So the moment someone comes into any of my educational products, I tell them very clearly, number one, I will not spoon feed you. If you're expecting that after the end of this masterclass, some magic will happen and things will start changing, no. You can take your refund and try something else out. It's not a magic wand. I'm not going to spoon feed you. Number two, also, I am explicitly telling everyone who is ever going to take any of the masterclasses that these masterclasses are a waypoint. They are not the end point. My job is to give you direction. Your story, your product, your category, your market is different. How you want to adapt that learning to your category becomes very important. And you know what I do to counter this? If I have 5 live sessions for a course, let's say meta ads, all the 5 sessions will be recorded. And there will be a transcript of all the 5 sessions. So let's say the transcript is a 50-page transcript, for example. I will give them, every participant, the transcript of 50 pager to them, and I'll give them a ChatGPT prompt.
Okay.
Which has some variables.
Okay.
For example, you can fill the variable of your company here, whether you are a D2C, B2B, whatever it is, right? There will be a longish prompt with certain variable fields. I operate in UAE or India or US. This is my market. Basic information about your business. Now, when you get an output from a ChatGPT or Gemini, because you're uploading this 50-page transcript also, the output is coming from what I have said in the masterclass. And it's not a generic response that ChatGPT is giving you. So the intelligence is what I'm charging you for. I'm not charging you for teaching you this 3C content framework. I teach it all the time for free.
Correct.
What I'm charging you for is that 50-page transcript, what I have said. And that is your Bible. Now, how you want to use that transcript to make the content relevant for your business is what at least you will have to do.
100%.
Right? So that's how I try to create that differentiation. And the last thing is that I make sure that these courses have, or these masterclasses have regular updates. Platforms change really fast. A new update by Meta. If you buy any of these on-demand masterclasses once, you will have access to it for 12 months. Now, whatever updates happen within Meta in the 12 months period, you will have access to it.
I will have access to it, yeah.
Yes, and you can consume it. And the same process follows. Take the transcript, use it on your platform with AI and make it relevant for you. The last thing I want to mention here is my definition of education is not only courses. Courses is a starting point. That's what I am doing at the moment. But I believe I have tasted what community does. I used to run a community of 20-25,000 marketers some time back on a different platform. Now I am migrating all of them to my own website. My idea of education is that learning never ends.
Correct.
You can learn what I'm teaching you right now, but you have to be with me in the journey.
Correct.
Tomorrow, if you're going for an interview and you want to understand what kind of cross questions that can come up, you can use AI for that. Absolutely, you can use it. But if you want guidance in terms of certain use cases or examples of the brand where you are going for interview, right? Or how to do cross questioning, how to set the expectation right. You want that view from a practitioner. That is where you can always reach out to me and we can do that conversation if you're part of my community. So I believe that education is a never-ending process. So once I hold your hand, you have to be with me throughout your journey. This is a gap that I witnessed.
And the best part is that it's backed with real experience. It's backed with real updates. It's backed with real platform tested, results. So I think that's the beautiful part of that entire course. What's the 3 top courses that you have that actually sells? Or maybe people have got the maximum benefit out of these courses?
The best-selling one for me is a full stack digital marketing masterclass, which full stack covers your SEO, Google Ads, Meta Ads, Google Analytics, and financial literacy for marketers. So people typically want to go with this bundle that I will keep consuming the content throughout the year. That is number one. That sells
this gives them a complete 360 degrees, digital marketing tools and experiences of how they could actually go and start their career in the digital marketing space.
Yeah, this is a beginner-friendly masterclass, right? So most of the beginners who are getting started, they go ahead with full stack.
Okay.
The second best-selling product I have is performance marketing masterclass.
I got it.
This is where advanced stuff happens. If you're coming here for performance marketing, I expect you know how Meta works. Because my first session will be so heavy that you will not gather what I'm trying to say if you don't have basics right. So people who have taken full stack, they upgrade with performance marketing because their basics are sorted. Performance marketing, I do mix of both live, on demand, but like 20, 30, 40 people in one cohort, giving personalized attention to everyone who's joining. But this is one of the most important masterclasses I do and I look forward to.
And the third goes?
Third is meta ads.
Meta ads.
Meta ads is evergreen, right? Like everyone wants to learn.
Correct.
Everyone is going through some or the other pain point. And all some of the frameworks which I told you are part of meta ads masterclass. I like to divide my meta ads masterclass into different playbooks.
Okay.
Like a low ticket size playbook, low AOV, average order value, high AOV, subscription, category creation, right?
Very specific.
Specific, because every business comes from different background. What will work for me to sell a jewelry will not work for real estate.
Correct.
And that's the mistake that agencies make, right? So I try to divide the complete approach of meta ads and also in performance marketing based on these playbooks, because I have my first-hand experience of working with these brands, which I still do, right? So that's how it is segregated.
So they're very tailor-made for industry-wise. It's just not like fit for all.
No, it should not be. See, the problem with education in this space is I have made a beginner-friendly course. You go ahead and buy it. But when you buy it and you start consuming, you realize it's not for me. I have a very different problem statement, right? In fact, I'm happy to share with you this as well, that on my own website, very soon, which I will be announcing on my social as well, we are making a layer of an AI bot over the website. Now, what happens is, if I want to have a very specific question answered about meta ads, for example, my ROI is suddenly going down. I want answer to that question. I don't want to go through an entire course.
Correct.
Why would I spend 7 hours going? This is a real problem. So what we are doing is we are building an AI architecture over all the resources we have on our website. So if you have a specific problem for which you need an answer, my ROI is going down, what can I do? This AI bot will tell you, go to the Meta Ads Masterclass, Module 7, timestamp 3 minutes, and it explains you what needs to be done to fix this problem.
Wow.
You don't have to go through the entire masterclass if you don't have time. If the AI bot is not able to find an answer, it will direct you to our membership. And you can directly talk to Apurv and get the question answered. And this is the page for that. This is the kind of personalization which I feel is not there in education right now.
100%.
And that is what I'm trying to solve.
And what's the duration of this course, the full stack course?
Full stack is fully on demand. You can watch it at your own pace.
And how many lectures in it?
There would be close to about 25-30 modules.
Okay, 25-30 modules. So it can be, done in a couple of months or in a month?
Yeah. Not in a month, I would say in a couple of months.
Couple of months. So 2 months, then performance marketing?
Performance marketing is usually a 10 module masterclass. Each module is between 2.5 to 3 hours, which I take live. Okay. 10.
So this can go another 2 months if you really want to blend it with the first course, so that so if you say
it does go for 2 months. Right?
So this will go for 2 months, and then we have the third course, which is the meta ads, which will be another 1 month.
Meta ads has 5 sessions of 2 hours each, so 10 hours worth of content, and usually people complete it in a month.
So in just 5 months, I could actually become a digital marketing expert. I'm not saying from a practical standpoint, but at least theoretically for me as a founder to monitor my marketers, I should at least have some knowledge, which I believe.
Yeah, I would say even practically, because some of these courses actually guide you that go ahead and make a website. Do this, list a product, pick up a product from pick up from Alibaba if you have to, or list your own product, right? It's fine. I want you to spend 100 dirhams, 500 dirhams and get that feel. See, when data starts getting populated on ad accounts, we push individuals to do this, because the common concern that individuals have that I have learned it, but how do I use my knowledge?
Correct.
The best we can do is we can ask or tell them this is how you execute. Right? So we attempt doing that. But I believe that in 5 months, you can absolutely not only become a good digital marketer. The way I put it is that you become an architect. You know which lever to pull when things are going south, and you are able to make plans which are as good as, probably even better than what ChatGPT can do, because it's a lot more contextualized.
Yeah, because just in just 5 or 6 months, I actually become a full stack digital marketing expert, where basically even if I don't want to physically do the work, I at least have the capability to supervise it.
No, absolutely. Asking right questions is the
And
most
asking
important
the
for a
right
founder.
question, having knowledge about, okay, which tool to operate when,
Yeah.
how to go into a platform and check the metrics.
Yeah.
These are all basic, I think, technical know-how, which
Yeah,
at least I should have. And I don't think there's any technical knowledge that I need to have.
No, nothing. In fact, the frameworks I gave you, 3C content framework and likewise, these are templatized. You will get you can download these templates in the form of a sheet or a calculator, download it, keep it with yourself and use it whenever you have to. So it's not only theoretical, it becomes more action oriented if you're able to use it in your business. So these frameworks are all templatized. You can download the template and start using it.
Excellent. And where do one find these courses?
It's there on my website, the HQDigital.
HQDigital.com, right? People could go and then they could subscribe for this. So guys, I mean, if someone is looking to build his career on the digital marketing forefront, then I think you could just subscribe to HQ Digital, and HQ Digital would show up some courses, and maybe those courses could help you to become a full stack digital expert. You know that there's currently a lot of development that happens in the digital space. How does one keep a track of all the developments that's happening? Because I'm sure that you being a master in this expertise, you must be keeping all the track.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that how do you keep this track? Because there's continuously, every day, there's new development coming. There's new tools that are launching. There's a new, some sort of a new ecosystem getting launched.
Correct.
How do you basically keep a track of all this so that then you can basically funnel out to your students?
Correct. Yeah, that's a relevant question. This is a question that I get a lot. How do I stay updated, right? I'll give you resources directly, which I also refer to. The first is you need to be looking at what Meta and Google are announcing on their own news portals. And any new update that comes by Meta and Google, they firstly announce on their own portals, right? Which are typical news portals. But a smarter way to do this today is with the help of AI, where you use deep research on ChatGPT, Gemini, wherever you're comfortable, and ask it to extract all the latest updates that Meta has announced over the last 30 days in my category, which is, let's say, D2C. And it gives you a list of all the updates. It does the research and it gives you a list of all the updates that these platforms have announced along with citations. You can click and check it out more if you want. I believe deep research is a great way to start doing your research, etc. Right? I believe that that should be the starting point. That's the second resource I would recommend. Third is you can subscribe to something called Swipe Insights.
Okay.
You can go to their website.
Swipe Insights.
Swipe Insights.
Okay.
What they do is they have an automated system which captures all the updates which have been announced by marketplaces, TikTok, social media, Google, etc. It puts all of these updates at one place and sends you an email every morning. So if any new update has been announced by TikTok last week, you will get it in your inbox. So I am subscribed to it. It does not send you email every day, but whenever there is a new update, it will send you. You can assume 2-3 emails a week, but it gives you a summarized version of all the updates. Again, you can click on it and know more about it. I think that's a great tool to consider. And finally, I would say Twitter. Twitter is also a good medium. If you have the skill to filter the noise on Twitter, right? Because people are always trying to sell you something on the platform. But Twitter is also a good platform to understand any real-time update, something which has happened as latest as a couple of hours back, if at all that matters to you. But otherwise, I believe the news portals of Meta, Google, Deep Research, and Swipe Insights are the best ways to keep a tab.
I think excellent here. I mean, because today, I mean, after listening to this entire conversation for this couple of hours, at least one thing I got to know is that, I mean, when I'm sitting as an interviewer and taking interview of a marketing expert, at least this thing, I'll able to differentiate from someone who's sounding good than someone, who knows to execute the work in a complete full stack manner
Yeah.
for what the job requires, and someone who's accountable, someone who has a structure, someone who has a plan. And that differentiation, I'll able to do it very easily today after this, listening to this podcast once again. And I think the last question I would like to ask you is that what do you think about this new technology, which is now AI, everywhere AI? I mean, I'm sure that we already discussed about that. We can use it as a tool. But what do you think about the next 5 years in this digital marketing space? How you think the next 5 years will be, will be evolving? And when I'm starting my career or when I'm starting my digital marketing agency, I have to at least look a 5 years track, a road path, and design of how I should build a successful company in 5 years. What's the starting ingredients I need to now fix from day one that actually makes my strong foundation, gives us very strong foundation for me for the next 5 years, so that at the end of 4-5 years, I'm this company which is already ready for the future ecosystem?
Yeah. It's a good question. See, firstly, the way I look at AI, let me share my perspective on that. I do not create much content on AI tools. Okay. However, we are deep into it, right? We are not only tools, but workflows, platforms like Zapier, etc. But I believe that tool is just a medium. AI tools that we used probably 2 years back, we are not using those tools anymore apart from ChatGPT.
Correct.
Right? Or maybe 1 or 2 more tools. So tools will come and go. The way I look at AI is that at the moment, I need to use AI to speeden up my process wherever it is hurting me. Creativity is mine. I look at AI platforms as a junior intern, not as my boss. So whatever it will tell me, I will still apply my logic of critical thinking and asking questions, etc. So if I see that in marketing, usually the most amount of time goes in researching and building a strategy. So research and strategy is where you spend a lot of time, because setting up a campaign on Meta is still straightforward.
It's straightforward.
Clicking of buttons. This is where it takes time. Now, this is where I want to use AI. Earlier, for me to do research, it would take hours and hours, right? That's not required anymore. I believe one tool which one can use for research and strategy purpose is NotebookLM. NotebookLM is one platform which will help you to do any kind of research and strategy, because it is like a librarian. It knows only what you feed it. It doesn't try to do a conversation with you the way ChatGPT does.
Correct.
So if you have uploaded, let's say you go on NotebookLM, you ask it to do a deep research on skincare category. What are my competitors doing? Where is the market heading? Where is the market heading? Where is my audience doing their research at the moment? I want to get competitor insight. I want to get market insight. I want to get audience insight. I will put a deep research mode on for that. It will pull all the PDFs, researches, white papers, which are part of, it will pull all of that at one place.
Excellent.
And the best part is I still don't have to read it.
Okay.
It will pull it. Let's say there are 50 PDFs now on your notebook. The next thing you can do is you can prompt. You can ask NotebookLM to pull the right information that you want from these PDFs. You don't even have to open them. So you have now these PDFs. The next prompt I have is, tell me the 10 online behaviors or trends or searches which are happening in skincare category. Now the response that you will get will be from these 50 PDFs and not coming from ChatGPT.
Wow.
So if the answer is not in those 50 PDFs, the tool will tell you
this is
that this does not exist. Then you can continue doing your research if you want. So at least the tool is not trying to keep the conversation going with me for the sake of it, which ChatGPT and Gemini would do, right?
Correct.
So therefore research becomes fairly easy. So the way I look at it is, because we are talking about tools as well, for me, one brand is equal to one notebook. Now in that one notebook, I will store all my assets, from competition to market to audience to the brand assets as well. Brand guideline, last few performance marketing reports, how SEO is doing. One brain, one notebook for one brand. Now if I want to generate real ideas for me,
correct,
You have all the assets at one place.
Yeah, you have all the
Might as well pull it from there instead of asking randomly from a chat GPT or
which
a
we
Gemini.
always do.
Yeah, which we always do, and we end up being generic.
Correct.
I have seen the more content you put out coming from chat GPT, etc., lesser is the engagement. Right? So, but if it is coming from here, and the best part about NotebookLM is that, and you can check it out. You can make presentations, decks from there. You can generate infographics. The best feature is you can convert the entire resource library, one notebook, into a podcast like this.
Yeah?
Yeah. In one click, whatever is part of the content, there'll be two people talking about the content of the resources. They will argue, they will contradict, they will talk. And over and above top of it, you can join the podcast as well. So there'll be two people talking, which is AI, of course. There's a button of join. The moment you click on join, one of the AI voices will say, oh,
Welcome, Apurv.
welcome. You want to talk to us?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can contribute to that podcast. You can ask questions and the responses will get more refined by AI voices, right? So I believe research and strategy, therefore, is where you don't have to spend hours. And it is way more efficient in today's time. So this is one tool, right? Adobe has its own tool which can be used. And there are multiple more. But I believe NotebookLM is way better. It's a tool by Google. So it's relatively better. So I believe AI is heading where speed will not be a problem, number one. If you want something in a few minutes, you should be able to get it. Number two, workflows. Workflows is if I'm running ads on Meta, there are 50 creatives which are running, mix of videos, images, statics, and so on, right? At the moment, if something stops working, my ROI is dipping, I will have to go on the dashboard and find out which ones are not working and then take the corrective action. But you can very well build a workflow today where all your creative information or metrics are getting pulled via Zapier to a Google Sheet. And now in Google Sheet, you have a rule set. At the moment a video hits certain fatigue signals, which means people are not watching my video beyond 3 seconds. That drop off is 90%. If people are not watching after 3 seconds, there is no way it will get you sales.
Correct.
Right? So initially it picked
The
up
retention
well.
is dropped.
Retention is dropped. Maybe initially it picked up well. It gave you 5, 6, 10 sales. But now it is starting to dip. But by the time you will realize, go on the dashboard and catch hold of it, it's already too late because you have spent money. But this workflow will help you to identify that out of 50, 10 creatives are about to hit fatigue based on your rules. Go and change it. So building these kind of workflows will become extremely important, right? We are working with certain real estate players here in Dubai. The common challenge with real estate here is that there are a lot of call drop-offs. People submit the lead, but they don't pick up the call.
Correct.
Right? And agents make the call whenever they have time.
Correct.
So is it the lead problem or is it the efficiency problem that the call needs to happen within 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, the person on the other hand is doing the research. They will bounce off. They will go to some other website. And therefore, how you can solve this problem? You can have a layer of an AI call before it goes to an agent. Let an AI call do the job of screening. If someone picks up a call in 2 minutes after submitting the lead, it's a quality lead. Then you can't argue that it's not a good quality lead. And maybe the AI agent can ask basic questions. Where are you from? What are you looking for? And so on, right? Once that basic information is in place, then it goes to the agent. So agent has some context already about the lead, plus the probability of that lead to be junk is very less now. Because the first level of
Because you've done the verification at the first level.
And it has happened in minutes. This is the kind of intervention and workflows I believe I am building with few businesses and it needs to be built now. Similarly with e-commerce, the biggest problem that happens is that people drop off from the cart page, or if there is a COD order, which means I'll pay cash on delivery, I don't know as a business owner whether the person is genuine, he or she will pay. I don't know that. So the moment a person drops off from cart page, AI call is the answer. The moment someone places a COD order, AI call is the answer. So at least the first level of screening, which is again speed and efficiency, can be done with the help of these workflows. So I divide my view on AI, one is this research strategy. Second is this workflow,
The efficiency.
the efficiency, and where it is heading, the last part, over the next 5 years. It's not going to be so much about which campaign I am supposed to start next to get results. It's going to be about putting certain predictability behind it. And that predictability comes from these AI platforms or the workflows that you set up. I believe, in fact, let me also share this with you that there is one group that I'm working with back in India. And I want to be upfront with this, that the mandate I have there is to reduce the marketing team size.
Yeah?
There are 350 people in the marketing team. They want to reduce it to 250 in this year. So
This is very disturbing.
it is disturbing, right? So if that needs to be achieved without drop in efficiency, I'm telling you, the first people that will suffer are the ones who overuse AI, not the ones who use AI. AI exposes average or bad marketeers faster. And I, based on my experience, I'm able to gauge that.
And once again, I say thank you very much, Apurva. Thank you so much. It's really an honor and a pleasure to see you. And it was a lovely conversation that we had. And I'm sure a lot of young entrepreneurs, a lot of people who is looking to build a career in social media, or maybe even from the broader aspect, a marketing expert, would actually get a lot of insights from this podcast, because we spoke about so many subjects.
Yeah.
The subjects could be on strategies, on structures, on algorithms, on tools, on ecosystems, and so many other aspects of how you start this journey and where do you start, and how the fundamentals, if your fundamentals are strong, by way of doing these courses also, the one which you're offering, and if those fundamentals are strong, then going forward in the 3 or 4 years, 5 years, you could build a great company, I think. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I
That
think
you
that's
accept.
where the future is. We are moving towards a system where there will be lean teams,
Yeah.
high leverage work, and really high quality output.
Yeah. And more automation.
Yeah, more definitely. Automation is already here. I think
Correct.
the more you use it, the better it is.
Thank you very much, Apur.
Thank you.
Thank you once again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.